Introduction of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Ashley Jane. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Introduction. Once upon a time there was a little girl named Margaret, and she wanted to cook. So she went into the kitchen and tried, but she could not understand the cookbooks, and she made dreadful messes, and spoiled her frocks, and burned her fingers till she just had to cry. One day she went to her grandmother, and her mother, and her pretty aunt, and her other aunt, who were all sitting sewing, and asked them to tell her about cooking. "What is a roux?" she said, "and what's a mousse, and what's an entrée? What are timbalas and sautés and ingredients, and how do you mix them, and how long do you bake 'em? Won't somebody please tell me all about it?" And her pretty aunt said, "See the flour all over that new frock." And her mother said, "Dear child, you are not old enough to cook yet." And her grandmother said, "Just wait a year or two, and I'll teach you myself." And the other aunt said, "Some day you shall go to cooking school and learn everything. You know little girls can't cook." But Margaret said, "I don't want to wait till I'm big. I want to cook now, and I don't want to do cooking school cooking, but little girl cooking all by myself." So she kept on trying to learn, but she burned her fingers and spoiled her dresses worse than ever. And her messes were so bad they had to be thrown out, every one of them, and she cried and cried. And then one day her grandmother said, "It's a shame that child should not learn to cook if she really wants to so much." And her mother said, "Yes, it is a shame, and she shall learn. Let's get her a small table and some tins and aprons, and make a little cookbook all her own out of the old ones we wrote for ourselves long ago. Just the plain easy things anybody can make." And both her aunts said, "Do, we will help, and perhaps we might put in just a few cooking school things beside." It was not long after this that Margaret had a birthday, and she was taken to the kitchen to get her presents, which she thought the funniest thing in the world. There they all were, in the middle of the room. First her father's present, a little table with a white oilcloth cover and casters, which would push right under the big table when it was not being used. Over a chair her grandmother's present, 3 nice gingham aprons with sleeves and ruffled bibs. On the little table the presents of the aunties, shiny new tins and saucepans, and cups to measure with, and spoons, and a toasting fork, and ever so many things. And then on one corner of the table, all by itself, was her mother's present, her own little cookbook, with her own name on it, and that was best of all. When Margaret had looked at everything, she set out in a row the big bowl and the middle-sized bowl and the little wee bowl, and put the scalloped patty pans around them, and the real egg beater in front of all, just like a picture, and then she read a page in her cookbook, and began to believe it was all true. So she danced for joy, and put on a gingham apron, and began to cook that very minute. And before another birthday she had cooked every single thing in the book. This is Margaret's cookbook. End of introduction. Recording by Ashley Jane. Cereals of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Ashley Jane. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 1. Cereals. The Things Margaret Made for Breakfast. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. Cereals. 1 quart of boiling water. 4 tablespoons of cereal. 1 teaspoonful of salt. When you are to use a cereal made of oats or wheat, always begin to cook it the night before, even if it says on the package that it is not necessary. Put a quart of boiling water in the outside of the double boiler and another quart in the inside, and in this last mix the salt and the cereal. Put the boiler on the back of the kitchen range, where it will be hardly cooked at all, and let it stand all night. If the fire is to go out, put it on so that it will cook for 2 hours first. In the morning, if the water in the outside of the boiler is cold, fill it up hot and boil hard for an hour without stirring the cereal. Then turn it out in a hot dish and send it to the table with a pitcher of cream. The rather soft, smooth cereals, such as farina and cream of rice, are to be measured in just the same way, but they need not be cooked overnight, only put on in a double boiler in the morning for an hour. Margaret's mother was very particular to have all cereals cooked a long time, because they are difficult to digest if they are only part cooked, even though they look and taste as though they were done. Cornmeal mush. 1 quart of boiling water, 1 teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of cornmeal. Be sure the water is boiling very hard when you are ready. Then put in the salt and pour slowly from your hand the cornmeal, stirring all the time till there is not one lump. Boil this half an hour and serve with cream. Some like a handful of nice plump raisins stirred in too. It is better to use yellow cornmeal in winter and white in summer. Fried cornmeal mush. Make the cornmeal mush the day before you need it, and when it has cooked half an hour, put it in a bread tin and smooth it over. Stand away overnight to harden. In the morning turn it out and slice it in pieces half an inch thick. Put 2 tablespoons of lard or nice drippings in the frying pan and make it very hot. Dip each piece of mush into a pan of flour and shake off all except a coating of this. Put the pieces, a few at a time, into the hot fat and cook till they are brown. Have ready a heavy brown paper on a flat dish in the oven, and as you take out the mush, lay it on this, so that the paper will absorb the grease. When all are cooked, put the pieces on a hot platter, and have a pitcher of maple syrup ready to send to the table with them. Another way to cook cornmeal mush is to have a kettle of hot fat ready, and after flouring the pieces, drop them into the fat and cook like doughnuts. The pieces have to be rather smaller to cook this way than in the other. Boiled rice. 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of boiling water, 1 teaspoonful of salt. Pick the rice over, taking out all the bits of brown husk. Fill the outside of the double boiler with hot water and put in the rice, salt and water and cook 40 minutes, but do not stir it. Then take off the cover from the boiler and very gently, without stirring, turn over the rice with a fork. Put the dish in the oven without the cover and let it stand and dry for 10 minutes. Then turn it from the boiler into a hot dish. Have cream to eat on it. If any rice is left over from breakfast, use it the next morning as fried rice. Press it into a pan, just as you did the mush, and let it stand overnight. The next morning slice it, dip it in flour, and fry, either in the pan or in the deep fat in the kettle, just as you did the mush. Farina croquettes. When farina has been left from breakfast, take it while still warm and beat into a pint of it the beaten yolks of 2 eggs. Let it then get cold, and at luncheon time make it into round balls. Dip each one first into the beaten yolk of an egg mixed with a tablespoon of cold water, and then into smooth, sifted breadcrumbs. Have ready a kettle of very hot fat, and drop in 3 at a time, or if you have a wire basket, put 3 in this, and sink into the fat until they are brown. Serve in a pyramid on a napkin, and pass scraped maple sugar with them. Margaret's mother used to have no cereal at breakfast sometimes, and have these croquettes as a last course instead, and everyone liked them very much. Rice Croquettes. 1 cup of milk, yolk of 1 egg, 1/4 cup of rice, 1 large tablespoonful of powdered sugar, small 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1/2 cup of raisins and currants mixed, 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla. Wash the rice and put in a double boiler with the milk, salt, and sugar, and cook till very thick. Beat the yolks of the eggs and stir into the rice, and beat till smooth. Sprinkle the washed raisins and currants with flour, and roll them in it, and mix these in, and last the vanilla. Turn out on a platter, and let all get very cold. Then make into pyramids, dip in the yolk of an egg mixed with a tablespoonful of water, and then into sifted breadcrumbs, and fry in a deep kettle of boiling fat, using a wire basket. As you take these from the fat, put them on paper in the oven with the door open. When all are done, put them on a hot platter, and sift powdered sugar over them, and put a bit of red jelly on top of each. This is a nice dessert for luncheon. All white cereals may be made into croquettes. If they are for breakfast, do not sweeten them, but for luncheon use the rule just given, with or without raisins and currants. Hominy. Cook this just as you did the rice, drying it in the oven. Serve one morning plain as cereal with cream, and then next morning fried with maple syrup after the rest of the meal. Fried hominy is always nice to put around a dish of fried chicken or roast game, and it looks especially well if, instead of being sliced, it is cut out into fancy shapes with a cookie cutter. After Margaret had learned to cook all kinds of cereals, she went on to the next thing in her cookbook. End of section 1. Recording by Ashley Jane.
Breakfast Eggs of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 1. Breakfast Eggs. Eggs. Soft boiled. Put 6 eggs in a baking dish and cover them with boiling water. Put a cover on and let them stand where they will keep hot but not cook for 10 minutes. Or, if the family likes them well done, 12 minutes. They will be perfectly cooked, but not tough, soft and creamy all the way through. Another way to cook them is this. Put the eggs in a kettle of cold water on the stove, and the moment the water boils, take them up, and they will be just done. An easy way to take them up all at once is to put them in a wire basket and sink this under the water. A good way to serve boiled eggs is to crumple up a fresh napkin in a deep dish which has been made very hot, and lay the eggs in the folds of the napkin. This prevents their breaking and keeps them warm. Poached eggs. Take a pan which is not more than 3 inches deep, and put in as many muffin rings as you wish to cook eggs. Pour in boiling water till the rings are half covered, and scatter half a teaspoonful of salt in the water. Let it boil up once, and then draw the pan to the edge of the stove, where the water will not boil again. Take a cup, break 1 egg in it, and gently slide this into a ring, and so on till all are full. While they are cooking, take some toast and cut it into round pieces with the biscuit cutter. Wet these a very little with boiling water, and butter them. When the eggs have cooked 12 minutes, take a cake turner and slip it under 1 egg with its ring, and lift the 2 together onto a piece of toast, and then take off the ring, and so on with all the eggs. Shake a very little salt and pepper over the dish, and put parsley around the edge. Sometimes a little chopped parsley is nice to put over the eggs, too. Poached eggs with potted ham. Make the rounds of toast and poach the eggs as before. Make a white sauce in this way. Melt a tablespoonful of butter, and when it bubbles put in a tablespoonful of flour. Shake well and add a cup of hot milk and a small half teaspoonful of salt. Cook till smooth. Moisten each round of toast with a very little boiling water, and spread with some of the potted ham, which comes in little tin cans. Lay a poached egg on each round and put a teaspoonful of white sauce on each egg. If you have no potted ham in the house, but have plain boiled ham, put this through the meat chopper till you have half a cupful. Put in a heaping teaspoonful of the sauce, a saltspoonful of dry mustard, and a pinch of red pepper, and it will do just as well. Scrambled eggs. 4 eggs, 2 tablespoonfuls of milk, half teaspoonful of salt. Put the eggs in a bowl and stir till they are well mixed. Add the milk and salt. Make the frying pan very hot and put a tablespoonful of butter in it. When it melts, shake it well from side to side till all the bottom of the pan is covered. Put in the eggs and stir them, scraping them off the bottom of the pan until they begin to get a little firm. Then draw the pan to the edge of the stove and scrape up from the bottom all the time till the whole looks alike, creamy and firm, but not hard. Put them in a hot covered dish. Scrambled eggs with parsley. Chop enough parsley to make a teaspoonful, and mince half as much onion. Put the onion in the butter when you heat the pan, and cook the eggs in it. When you are nearly ready to take the eggs off the fire, put in the parsley. After Margaret had learned to make these perfectly, she began to mix other things with the eggs. Scrambled eggs with tomato. When Margaret found a cupful of tomato in the refrigerator, she would take that, add a half teaspoonful of salt, 2 shakes of pepper, and a teaspoonful of chopped parsley, and simmer it all on the fire for 5 minutes. Then she would cook half a teaspoonful of minced onion in the butter on the hot frying pan as before. Scrambled eggs with chicken. Chop a fine cup of cold chicken or any light-colored meat, and heat it with a tablespoonful of water, a half teaspoonful of salt, 2 shakes of pepper, and a teaspoonful of chopped parsley. Cook a half teaspoonful of minced onion in the butter you put in the hot frying pan, and turn in the eggs, and when they set, mix in the chicken. Sometimes Margaret used both the tomato filling and the chicken in the eggs when she wanted to make a large dish. Creamed eggs. Cook 6 eggs 20 minutes, and while they are on the fire make a cup of white sauce as before, 1 tablespoonful of butter melted, 1 of flour, 1 cup of hot milk, a little salt. Cook till smooth. Peel the eggs and cut the whites into pieces as large as the tip of your finger, and put the yolks through the potato ricer. Mix the eggs white with the sauce, and put in a hot dish with the yellow yolks over the top. Or put the whites on pieces of toast, which you have dipped in part of the white sauce, and put the yolks on top, and serve on a small platter. Another nice way to cream eggs is this: cook them till hard, and cut them all up into bits. Make the white sauce, and into it stir the beaten yolk of 1 egg, just after taking it from the fire. Mix the eggs with this, and put in a hot dish or on toast. You can sprinkle grated cheese over this sometimes for a change. Creamed eggs in baking dishes. Cut 6 hard-boiled eggs up into bits. Mix with a cup of white sauce, and put in small baking dishes which you have buttered. Cover over with fine sifted breadcrumbs, and dot with bits of butter, about 4 to each dish, and brown in the oven. Stick a bit of parsley in the top of each, and put each dish on a plate to serve. Bird's nest. Sometimes, when she wanted something very pretty for breakfast, Margaret used this rule. Open 6 eggs, putting the whites together in 1 large bowl, and the yolks in 6 cups on the kitchen table. Beat the whites till they are stiff, putting in half a teaspoonful of salt just at the last. Divide the whites, putting them into 6 patty pans or small baking dishes. Make a little hole or nest in the middle of each, and slip 1 yolk carefully from the cup into the place. Sprinkle a little salt and pepper over them, and put a bit of butter on top, and put the dishes into a pan and set in the oven till the egg whites are a little brown. Omelette. Making an omelette seems rather a difficult thing for a little girl, but Margaret made hers in a very easy way. Her rule said: break 4 eggs separately, beat the whites till they are stiff, and then wash and wipe dry the egg beater, and beat the yolks till they foam, and then put in half a teaspoonful of salt. Pour the yolks over the whites, and mix gently with a large spoon. Have a cake griddle hot with a piece of butter melted on it and spread over the whole surface. Pour the eggs on and let them cook for a moment. Then take a cake turner and slip under an edge and look to see if the middle is getting brown, because the color comes there first. When it is a nice even color, slip the turner well under and turn the omelette half over, covering one part with the other, and then slip the whole off onto a hot platter. Bridget had to show Margaret how to manage this the first time, but after that she could do it alone. Spanish omelette. 1 cup of cooked tomato, 1 green pepper, 1 slice of onion, 1 teaspoonful of chopped parsley, 1 teaspoonful salt, 3 shakes of pepper. Cut the green pepper in half and take out all the seeds, mix with the tomato and cook all together with the seasoning for 5 minutes. Make an omelette by the last rule while the tomato is cooking, and when it is done, just before you fold it over, put in the tomato. Omelette with mushrooms. Take a can of mushrooms and slice half of them into thin pieces. Make a cup of very rich white sauce, using cream instead of milk, and cook the mushrooms in it for 1 minute. Make the omelette as before, and spread with the sauce when you turn it over. Omelette with mushrooms and olives. This was a very delicious dish, and Margaret only made it for company. She prepared the mushrooms just as in the rule above, and added 12 olives cut into small pieces, and spread the omelette with the whole when she turned it. Eggs baked in little dishes. Margaret's mother had some pretty little dishes with handles, brown on the outside and white on the inside. These Margaret buttered, and put 1 egg in each, sprinkling with salt, pepper, and butter, with a little parsley. She put the dishes in the oven till the eggs were firm, and served them in the small dishes, 1 on each plate. Eggs with cheese. 6 eggs, 2 heaping tablespoonfuls Parmesan cheese, half teaspoonful of salt, pinch of red pepper. Beat the eggs without separating till light and foamy, and then add the cheese, salt, and pepper. Put a tablespoonful of butter in the frying pan, and when it is hot put in the eggs, and stir till smooth and firm. Serve on small pieces of buttered toast. Parmesan cheese is very nice to use in cooking. It comes in bottles already grated to use. Eggs with bacon. Take some bacon and put in a hot frying pan and cook till it crisps. Then lift it out on a hot dish and put in the oven. Break 6 eggs into separate cups and slide them carefully into the fat left in the pan, and let them cook till they are rather firm and the bottom is brown. Then take a cake turner and take them out carefully, and put in the middle of the dish, and arrange the bacon all around with parsley on the edge. Ham and eggs, molded. Take small deep tins, such as are used for timbales, and butter them. Make 1 cup of white sauce. Take a cup of cold boiled ham which has been put through the meat chopper, and mix with a tablespoonful of white sauce and 1 egg slightly beaten. Press this like a lining into the tins, and then gently drop a raw egg in the center of each. Stand them in a pan of boiling water in the oven till the eggs are firm, about 10 minutes, and turn out on a round platter. Put around them the rest of the white sauce. You can stand the little molds on circles of toast if you wish. This rule was given Margaret by her pretty aunt, who got it at cooking school. It sounded harder than it really was, and after trying it once, Margaret often used it. End of Part 1. Breakfast Eggs.
Part 1. Fish, of a little cookbook for a little girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 1. Fish. One day some small, cunning little fish came home from market, and Margaret felt sure they must be meant for her to cook. They were called smelts, and on looking, she found a rule for cooking them, just as she had expected. Fried smelts. Put a deep kettle on the fire, with 2 cups of lard in it, to get it very hot. Wipe each smelt inside and out with a clean wet cloth, and then with a dry one. Have a saucer of flour mixed with a teaspoon of salt and another saucer of milk. Put the tail of each smelt through its gills, that is, the opening near its mouth. Then roll the smelts first in milk and then in flour, and shake off any lumps. Throw a bit of bread into the fat in the kettle and see if it turns brown quickly. It does if the fat is hot enough, but if not, you must wait. Put 4 smelts in the wire basket and stand it in the fat so that the fish are entirely covered for only half a minute, or till you can count 30. As you take them out of the kettle, lay them on heavy brown paper on a pan in the oven, to drain and keep hot, and leave the door open till all are done. Lay a folded napkin on a long, narrow platter, and arrange the fishes in 2 rows, with slices of lemon and parsley on the sides. Fish balls. One morning there was quite a good deal of cold mashed potato in the ice box, so Margaret decided to have fish balls for breakfast. Her rule said, take a box of prepared codfish and put it in a colander, and pour a quart of boiling water through it, stirring it as you do so. Let it drain while you heat 2 cups of mashed potato in a double boiler, with half a cup of hot milk, beating and stirring till it is smooth. Squeeze the water from the codfish and mix with the potato. Beat 1 egg without separating it, and put this in too, with a very little pepper, and beat it all well. Turn it out on a floured board and make into small balls, rolling each one in flour as it is done, and brushing off most of the flour afterward. Have ready a kettle of hot lard, just as for smelts, and drop in 3 or 4 of the balls at one time, and cook till light brown. Lift them out on a paper in the oven, and let them keep hot while you cook the rest. Serve with parsley on a hot platter. Creamed codfish. Pour boiling water over a package of prepared codfish in the colander and drain it. Heat a frying pan, and while you are waiting, beat the yolk of an egg. Squeeze the water from the fish. Put 1 tablespoon of butter in a hot pan, and when it bubbles, put in 2 tablespoons of flour, and stir and rub till all is smooth. Pour in slowly a pint of hot milk, and mix well, rubbing in the flour and butter till there is not a single lump. Then stir in the fish with a little pepper, and when it boils, put in the egg. Stir it all up once, and it is done. Put in a hot covered dish, or on slices of buttered toast. Salt mackerel. This was a dish Margaret's grandmother liked so much that they had it every little while, even though it was old-fashioned. Put the mackerel into a large pan of cold water with the skin up, and soak it all one afternoon and night, changing the water 4 times. In the morning put it in a pan on the fire with enough water to cover it, and drop in a slice of onion minced fine, a teaspoonful of vinegar, and a sprig of parsley. Simmer it 20 minutes, that is, let it just bubble slowly, and while it is cooking make a cup of white sauce as before, 1 tablespoon of butter melted, 1 tablespoon of flour, 1 cup of hot milk, a little salt. Cook till smooth. Take up the fish and pour off all the water. Place it on a hot platter and pour the sauce over it. End of Part 1. Fish. Recording by J.P. for KJV. Meats of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 1. Meats. When it came to cooking meat for breakfast, Margaret thought she had better take first what looked easiest. So she chose corned beef hash. 1 pint of chopped corned beef, 1 pint of cold boiled potatoes, 1 cup of clear soup or 1 cup of cold water, 1 tablespoonful of butter, 1 teaspoonful of finely minced onion, half a teaspoonful of salt, 3 shakes of pepper. Mix all together. Have a hot frying pan and in it put a tablespoonful of butter or nice fat, and when it bubbles shake it all around the pan. Put in the hash and cook it till dry, stirring it often and scraping it from the bottom of the pan. When none of the soup or water runs out when you lift a spoonful, and when it seems steaming hot, you can send it to the table in a hot dish, with parsley around it. Or you can let it cook without stirring till there is a nice brown crust on the bottom, when you can double it over as you would an omelette. Or you can make a pyramid of the hash in the middle of a round platter, and put poached eggs in a circle around it. Many people like 1 small cold boiled beet cut up fine in corned beef hash, and sometimes for a change you can put this in before you put it in the frying pan. Broiled bacon. Margaret's mother believed there was only one very nice way to cook bacon. It was like this. Slice the bacon very, very thin and cut off the rind. Put the slices close together in a wire broiler and lay this over a shallow pan in a very hot oven for about 3 minutes. If it is brown on top, then you can turn the broiler over, but if not, wait a moment longer. When both sides are toasted, lay it on a hot platter and put sprigs of parsley around. This is much nicer than bacon cooked in the frying pan or over coals, for it is neither greasy nor smoky, but pink and light brown and crisp and delicious, and good for sick people and little children and everybody. Broiled chops. Wipe off the chops with a clean wet cloth and trim off the edges. If very fat, cut rather close to the meat. Rub the wire broiler with some of the fat so that the chops will not stick. Lay in the chops and put over a clear red fire without flame, and toast one side first and then the other. Do this till they are brown. Lay on a hot platter and dust both sides with salt and a tiny bit of pepper. Put bits of lemon and parsley around and send to the table hot. Panned chops. If the fire is not clear so that you cannot broil the chops, you must pan them. Take a frying pan and make it very hot indeed. Then lay in the chops, which you have wiped and trimmed, and cook one side very quickly and then the other, and after that let them cook more slowly. When they are done, you can tell by picking open a little place in one with a fork and looking on the inside. Put them on a platter as before, with pepper and salt. If they are at all greasy, put on brown paper in the oven first, to drain, leaving the door of the oven open. Be careful not to let them get cold. Liver and bacon. Buy half a pound of calf's liver and half a pound of bacon. Cut the liver in thin slices and pour boiling water over it, and then wipe each slice dry. Slice the bacon very thin and cut off the rind. Put this in a hot frying pan and cook very quickly, turning it once or twice. Just as soon as it is brown, take it out and lay it on brown paper in the oven in a pan. Take a saucer of flour and mix in it a teaspoonful of salt and a very little pepper. Dip the slices of liver in this one at a time and shake them free of lumps. Lay them in the hot fat of the bacon in the pan and fry till brown. Have a hot platter ready and lay the slices of liver in a nice row on it, and then put one slice of bacon on each slice of liver. Put parsley all around, and sometimes use slices of lemon too, for a change. Liver and bacon on skewers. Get from the butcher half a dozen small wooden skewers and prepare the liver and bacon as you did for frying, scalding, dipping the liver in flour, and taking the rind off the bacon. Make 3 slices of toast cut into strips and put in the oven to keep hot. Cut up both liver and bacon into pieces the size of a 50-cent piece and put them on the skewers. First one of the liver and then one of the bacon, and so on, about 6 of each. Put these in the hot frying pan and turn them over till they are brown. Then lay 1 skewer on each strip of toast and put lemon and parsley around. You can also put large oysters on the skewers with pieces of bacon and cook in the same way. Broiled steak. See that the fire is clear and red without flames. Trim off most of the fat from the steak and rub the wires of the broiler with it and heat it over the coals. Then put in the meat and turn over and over as it cooks, and be careful not to let it take fire. When brown, put it on a hot platter, dust over with salt and a very little pepper, and dot it with tiny lumps of butter. Put parsley around. Steak ought to be pink inside, not brown and not red. Put a fork in as you did with the chops and twist in a little, and you can see when it gets the right color. Steak with bananas. Peel 1 banana and slice in round pieces, and while the steak is cooking, fry them in a little hot butter till they are brown. After the meat is on the platter, lay these pieces over it, arranging them prettily, and put the parsley around as before. Bananas are very nice with steak. Frizzled dried beef. Take half a pound of dried beef, shaved very thin, chop it fine and pull out the strings. Put a large tablespoonful of butter in the frying pan, and when it bubbles, put in the meat. Stir till it begins to get brown, and then sprinkle in 1 tablespoonful of flour and stir again, and then put in 1 cup of hot milk. Shake in a little pepper, but no salt. As soon as it boils up once, it is done, and you can put it in a hot covered dish. If you like a change, stir in sometimes 2 beaten eggs in the milk instead of using it plain. Veal cutlet. Wipe off the meat with a clean wet cloth, and then with one that is dry. Dust it over with salt, pepper, and flour. Put a tablespoonful of nice dripping in a hot frying pan, and let it heat till it smokes a little. Lay in the meat and cook till brown, turning it over twice as it cooks. Look in the inside and see if it's brown, for cutlet must not be eaten red or pink inside. Put in a hot oven and cover it up while you make the gravy, by putting 1 tablespoonful of flour into the hot fat in the pan, stirring it till it is brown. Then put in a cup of boiling water, half a teaspoonful of salt, and a very little pepper. Put this through the wire sieve, pressing it with a spoon, and turn over the meat. Put parsley around the cutlet and send hot to the table. End of Part 1. Meats. Recording by J.P. for KJV.
Potatoes. Of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 1. Potatoes. Margaret's father said he could not possibly manage without potatoes for breakfast, so sometimes Margaret let Bridget cook the cereal and meat while she made something nice out of the cold potatoes she found in the cupboard. Creamed potatoes. Cut cold boiled potatoes into pieces as large as the end of your finger. Put them into a pan on the back of the stove with enough milk to cover them, and let them stand till they have drunk up all the milk. Perhaps they will slowly cook a little as they do this, but that will do them no harm. In another saucepan or in the frying pan put a tablespoonful of butter, and when it bubbles put in a tablespoonful of flour, and stir till they melt together, then put in 2 cups of hot milk, and stir till it is all smooth. Put in 1 teaspoonful of salt, and last the potatoes. but stir them only once while they cook for fear of breaking them. Add 1 teaspoonful of chopped parsley and put them in a hot covered dish. You can make another sort of potatoes when you have finished creaming them in this way, by putting a layer of them in a deep buttered baking dish, with a layer of white sauce over the top, and break crumbs and bits of butter for a crust. Brown well in a hot oven. When you do this, remember to make the sauce with 3 cups of milk and 2 tablespoonsful of flour and 2 of butter, and then you will have enough for everything. Hashed brown potatoes. Chop 4 cold potatoes fine, and add 1 teaspoonful of salt and a very little pepper. Put a tablespoonful of butter in the frying pan and turn it so it runs all over. When it bubbles, put in the potatoes and smooth them evenly over the pan. Cook till they are brown and crusty on the bottom. Then put in a teaspoonful of chopped parsley and fold over like an omelette. Saratoga potatoes. Wash and pare 4 potatoes and rub them on the potato slicer till they are in thin pieces. Put them in ice water for 15 minutes. Heat 2 cups of lard very hot, till when you drop in a bit of bread it browns at once. Wipe the potatoes dry and drop in a handful. Have a skimmer ready, and as soon as they brown, take them out and lay on brown paper in the oven, and put in another handful. Potato cakes. Take 2 cups of mashed potato, and mix well with the beaten yolk of 1 egg, and make into small flat cakes. Dip each into flour. Heat 2 tablespoonfuls of nice dripping, and when it is hot lay in the cakes and brown, turning each with the cake turner as it gets crusty on the bottom. Fried sweet potatoes. Take 6 cold boiled sweet potatoes, slice them and lay in hot dripping in the frying pan till brown. These are especially nice with veal cutlets. End of Part 1. Potatoes.
Of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Ingle. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Carolyn French Benton. Part 1. Breads. Toast. Toast is very difficult for grown people to make because they have made it wrong all their lives. But it is easy for little girls to learn to make because they can make it right from the first. Cut bread that is at least 2 days old into slices 1/4 inch thick. If you're going to make only a slice or 2, take the toasting fork. But if you want a plateful, take the wire broiler. Be sure the fire is red without any flames. Move the slices of bread back and forth across the coals, but do not let them brown. Do both sides this way, and then brown first one and then the other afterward. Trim off the edges, butter a little quickly, and send to the table hot. Baker's bread makes the best toast. Milk toast. Put 1 pint of milk on in a double boiler and let it heat. Melt 1 tablespoon of butter, and when it bubbles, stir in 1 small tablespoonful of cornstarch. And when these are rubbed smooth, put in 1/3 of the milk. Cook and stir till even, without lumps, and then put in the rest of the milk and stir well. Add 1/2 teaspoonful of salt and put on the back of the stove. Make 6 slices of toast. Put 1 slice in the dish and put a spoonful of the white sauce over it. Then put in another and another spoonful, and so on, till all are in, and pour the sauce that is left over all. If you want this extra nice, do not take quite so much butter, and use a pint of cream instead of milk. Baking powder biscuit. Margaret's other aunt said little girls could never make biscuit, but this little girl really did, by this rule. 1 pint sifted flour, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 4 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 3/4 cup of milk, 1 tablespoonful of butter. Put the salt and baking powder in the flour and sift well, and then rub the butter in with a spoon. Little by little put in the milk, mixing all the time, and then lift out the dough on a floured board and roll it out lightly, just once, till it is 1 inch thick. Flour your hands and mold the little balls as quickly as you can, and put them close together in a shallow pan that has had a little flour shaken over the bottom, and bake in a hot oven about 20 minutes or till the biscuits are brown. If you handle the dough much, the biscuits will be tough, so you must work fast. Grandmother's cornbread. 1½ cups of milk, 1 cup sifted yellow cornmeal, 1 tablespoonful melted butter, 1 teaspoonful sugar, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, 2 eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt. Scald the milk, that is, let it boil up just once, and pour it over the cornmeal. Let this cool while you are separating and beating the eggs. Let these wait while you mix the cornmeal, the butter, salt, baking powder, and sugar, and then the yolks. Add the whites last, very lightly. Bake in a buttered biscuit tin in a hot oven for about ½ an hour. Because Grandmother's cornbread was a little old-fashioned, Margaret's other aunt put in another recipe, which made the cornbread quite like cake and most delicious. Perfect cornbread. 1 large cup of yellow cornmeal, 1 small cup of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 3 tablespoonfuls of butter, 1 teaspoonful of salt, flour to a thin batter. Mix the sugar and butter and rub to a cream. Add the yolks of the eggs well beaten, and then ½ a cup of milk. Then put in the baking powder mixed in the flour and the salt, and then part of the cornmeal and a little more milk. Next fold in beaten whites of the eggs, and if it is still not like a thin batter, put in a little more milk. Then bake in a buttered biscuit tin till brown, cut in squares, and serve hot. This is particularly good eaten with hot maple syrup. Popovers. Put the muffin tins or iron gem pans in the oven to get very hot while you mix these popovers. 2 eggs, 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of flour, 1 small teaspoonful of salt. Beat the eggs very lightly without separating them. Pour the milk in and beat again. Sift the salt and flour together. Pour over the eggs and milk into it, and beat quickly with a spoon till it is foamy. Strain through a wire sieve, and take the hot pans out of the oven and fill each one half full. Bake just 25 minutes. Cooking school muffins. 2 cups sifted flour, 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1 cup milk, 2 eggs, 1 large teaspoonful of melted butter. Mix the flour, salt, and baking powder and sift. Beat the yolks of the eggs, put in the butter with them and the milk, then the flour, and last the stiff whites of the eggs. Have the muffin tins hot, pour in the batter, and bake 15 or 20 minutes. These must be eaten at once or they will fall. There was one little recipe in Margaret's book which she thought must be meant for the smallest girl who ever tried to cook, it was so easy. But the little muffins were good enough for grown people to like. This was it. Barneys. 4 cups of whole wheat flour, 3 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 1 teaspoonful of salt, enough water to make it seem like cake batter. Drop with a spoon into hot buttered muffin pans and bake in an oven about 15 minutes. Bridget had to show Margaret what was meant by a cake batter, but after she had seen once just how thick that was, she could always tell in a minute when she had put in water enough. Griddle cakes. 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 1 1/2 cups flour, 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt. Put the eggs in a bowl without separating them, and beat them with a spoon till light. Put in the milk, then the flour mixed with the salt, and last the baking powder all alone. Bake on a hot buttered griddle. This seems a queer rule, but it makes delicious cakes, especially if eaten with sugar and thick cream. Flannel cakes. 1 tablespoonful of butter, 1 tablespoonful of sugar, 2 eggs, 2 cupfuls of flour, 1 teaspoonful of baking powder, milk enough to make a smooth, rather thin batter. Rub the butter and sugar to a cream. Add the eggs beaten together lightly, then the flour in which you have mixed the baking powder, and then the milk. It is easy to know when you have the batter just right, for you can put a tiny bit on the griddle and make a little cake. If it rises high and is thick, put more milk in the batter. If it is too thin, it will run about on the griddle, and you must add more flour. But it is better not to thin it too much, but to add more milk if the batter is too thick. Sweet corn griddle cakes. These ought to be made of fresh sweet corn, but you can make them in winter out of canned grated corn, or canned corn rubbed through a colander. 1 quart grated corn, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, 1 tablespoonful melted butter, 4 eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt. Beat the eggs separately and put the yolks into the corn. Then add the milk, then the flour, then the salt, and beat well. Last of all, fold in the whites and bake on a hot griddle. Waffles. 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, 1½ cups of milk, 1 tablespoonful butter, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 3 eggs beaten separately. Mix the flour, baking powder, and salt. Put the beaten egg yolks in the milk, and add the melted butter, the flour, and last the beaten whites of the eggs. Make the waffle iron very hot and grease it very thoroughly on both sides by tying a little rag to a clean stick and dipping in melted butter. Put in some batter on one side, filling the iron about half full, and close the iron, putting this side down over the fire. When it has cooked for about 2 minutes, turn the iron over without opening it, and cook the other side. When you think it is done, open it a little and look to see if it is brown. If not, keep it over the coals till it is. Take out the waffle, cut in 4 pieces, and pile on a plate in the oven, while you again grease the iron and cook another. Serve very hot and crisp with maple syrup or powdered sugar and thick cream. Some people like honey on their waffles. You might try all these things in turn. End of part 1. Breads.
Of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Carolyn French Benton. Part 1. Coffee. Last of all the things Margaret learned to make for breakfast came coffee. And this she could make in 2 ways. Sometimes she made it this first way, and sometimes the other, which is called French coffee. Coffee. First, be sure your coffee pot is shining clean. Look in the spout and in all the cracks and wipe them out carefully, for you cannot make good coffee except in a perfectly clean pot. Then get 3 heaping tablespoonfuls of ground coffee, and 1 tablespoonful of cold water, and 1 tablespoonful of white of egg. Mix the egg with the coffee and water thoroughly, and put in the pot. Pour in 1 quart of boiling water, and let it boil up once. Then stir down the grounds which come to the top, put in 2 tablespoonfuls of cold water, and let it stand for a minute on the back of the stove, and then strain it into the silver pot for the table. This pot must be made very hot by filling it with boiling water and letting it stand on the kitchen table while the coffee is boiling. If this rule makes coffee stronger than the family like it, take less coffee, and if it is not strong enough, take more coffee. French coffee. Get one of the pots which are made so the coffee will drip through. Put 3 tablespoonfuls of very finely powdered coffee in this, and pour in a quart of boiling water. When it is all dripped through, it is ready to put in the hot silver pot. End of part 1. Coffee.
Recipes with white sauce of a little cookbook for a little girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by 2xron. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Carolyn French Benton. Part 2. Recipes with white sauce. Part 2. The things Margaret made for luncheon or supper. So many things in this part of Margaret's book call for white sauce or cream sauce that the rule for that came first of all. White or cream sauce. 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of flour, 1 cup hot milk or cream, 1/3 teaspoonful of salt. Melt the butter, and when it bubbles, put in the flour, shaking the saucepan as you do so, and rub until smooth. Put in the hot milk a little at a time, and stir and cook without boiling till all is smooth and free from lumps. Add the salt, and, if you choose, a little pepper. Cream sauce is made exactly as is white sauce, but cream is used in place of milk. What is called thick white sauce is made by taking 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and 2 of flour and only 1 cup of milk. Creamed oysters. 1 pint oysters, 1 large cup of cream sauce. Make the sauce of cream if you have it, and if not, use a very heaping tablespoonful of butter in the white sauce. Keep this hot. Drain off the oyster juice and wash the oysters by holding them under the cold water faucet. Strain the juice and put the oysters back in it, and put them on the fire and let them just simmer till the edges of the oysters curl. Then drain them from the juice again and drop them in the sauce, and add a little bit more salt, celery salt is nice if you have it, and just a tiny bit of cayenne pepper. You can serve the oysters on squares of buttered toast, or put them in a large dish with sifted breadcrumbs over the top and tiny bits of butter, and brown in the oven. Or you can put them in small dishes as they are, and put a sprig of parsley in each dish. Panned oysters. Take the oysters from their juice, strain it, wash the oysters, and put them back in. Put them in a saucepan with a little salt, about a half a teaspoonful to a pint of oysters, and a little pepper, and a piece of butter as large as the end of your thumb. Let them simmer till the edges curl, just as before, and put them on squares of hot buttered toast. Scalloped oysters. 1 pint of oysters, 12 large crackers or 1 cup of breadcrumbs, half a cup of milk, the strained oyster juice. Butter a deep baking dish, roll the crackers or make the breadcrumbs of even size, some people like one better than the other, and you can try both ways. Put a layer of breadcrumbs in the dish, then a layer of oysters washed, then a sprinkling of salt and pepper and a few bits of butter. Then another layer of crumbs, oysters, and seasoning till the dish is full, with crumbs on the top. Mix the milk and the oyster juice and pour slowly over, then cover the top with bits of butter and bake in the oven until brown, about half an hour. You can put these oysters into small dishes, just as you did the creamed oysters, or into large scallop shells, and bake them only 10 or 15 minutes. In serving, put a small sprig of parsley into each. Pigs in blankets. These were great fun to make, and Margaret often begged to get them ready for company. 15 large oysters, 15 very thin slices of bacon. Sprinkle each oyster with a very little salt and pepper. Trim the rind from the bacon and wrap each oyster in 1 slice, pinning this blanket tightly on the back with a tiny Japanese wooden toothpick. Have ready a hot frying pan and lay in 5 oysters and cook till the bacon is brown and the edges of the oysters curl, turning each over once. Put these on a hot plate in the oven with the door open and cook 5 more, and so on. Put them on a long, narrow platter with slices of lemon and sprigs of parsley around. Or you can put them each on a strip of toast which you have dipped in the gravy in the pan. This is the better way. This dish must be eaten very hot or will not be good. Creamed fish. 2 cups of cold fish, 1 cup of white sauce. Pick any cold fish left from dinner into even bits, taking out all the bones and skin, and mix with the hot white sauce. Stir until smooth, and add a small half teaspoonful of chopped parsley. You can put this in a buttered baking dish and cover the top with crumbs and bits of butter and brown in the oven. Or you can put it in small dishes and brown also, or you can serve it just as is, in little dishes. Creamed lobster. 1 lobster, or the meat from 1 can. 1 large cup of white or cream sauce. Take the lobster out of the shell and clean it. Bridget will have to show you how the first time. Or, if you are using canned lobster, pour away all the juice and pick out the bits of shell and find the black string, which is apt to be there, and throw it away. Cut the meat in pieces as large as the end of your finger and heat it in the sauce till it steams. Put in a small half teaspoonful of salt, a pinch of cayenne, and a squeeze of lemon. Do not put this in a large dish, but in small ones, buttered well, and serve at once. Stand a little claw up in each dish. Creamed salmon. 1 can salmon, 1 cup of white sauce. Prepare this dish exactly as you did the plain creamed white fish. Take it out of the can, remove all the juice, bones, and fat, and put in the white sauce, and cook a moment till smooth. Add a half teaspoonful of salt, a little pepper, and a squeeze of lemon, and put it in the baking dish and brown, or serve it as it is in small dishes. Scalloped lobster or salmon. 1 can of fish or 1 pint, 1 large cup of cracker or breadcrumbs, 1 large cup of white sauce. Prepare this dish almost as you did the scalloped oysters. Take out all the bones and skin and juice from the fish. Butter a baking dish, put in a layer of fish, then salt and pepper, then a layer of crumbs and butter, and a layer of white sauce, then fish, seasoning, crumbs, and butter again, and have the crumbs on top. Dot over with butter and brown in the oven, or serve in small dishes. Crab meat in shells. You can buy very nice, fresh crab meat in tins, and the shells also. A very delicious dish is made by mixing a cup of rich cream sauce with the crab meat, seasoning it well with salt and pepper, and putting in the crab shells. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and a brown in the oven. This is a nice thing to have for a company luncheon. Creamed chicken or turkey. 2 cups of cold chicken, 1 large cup of white or creamed sauce, 1/2 teaspoonful of chopped parsley, salt, and pepper. Pick the chicken or turkey off the bones and cut into small bits before you measure it. Heat it in the sauce till very hot, but do not let it boil, and add the seasoning, about 1/2 teaspoonful of salt and a tiny bit of cayenne, or as much celery salt in the place of the common kind. Put in a large buttered dish and serve, or in small dishes, either with crumbs on top or not. A nice addition to this dish is 1/2 a green pepper, the seeds taken out, chopped very fine indeed, and mixed with the white meat. The contrast of colors is pretty, and the taste improved. End of Part 2. Recipes with white sauce.
Two Lunch Eggs of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 2. Lunch Eggs. Scalloped eggs. 6 hard-boiled eggs, 1 cup cream or white sauce, 1 cup fine breadcrumbs, salt and pepper. Cook the eggs 20 minutes, and while they are cooking make the white sauce, and butter 1 large or 6 small dishes. Peel the eggs and cut them into bits as large as the end of your finger. Put a layer of breadcrumbs on the bottom of the dish, then a layer of egg, then a sprinkling of salt, pepper, and bits of butter, then a layer of white sauce. Then more crumbs, egg, and seasoning, till the dish is full with crumbs on top. Put bits of butter over all and brown in the oven. Eggs in double cream. This is a rule Margaret's pretty aunt got in Paris, and it is a very nice one. Have 1/2 pint of very thick cream, the kind you use to whip. The French call this double cream. Cook 6 eggs hard and cut them into bits. Butter a baking dish or small dishes and put in a layer of egg, then a layer of cream, then a sprinkling of salt and 1 of paprika, which is sweet red pepper. Put 1 thin layer of fine sifted crumbs on top with butter, and brown in the oven. Or you can put the eggs and cream together and heat them, and serve on thin pieces of buttered toast with 1 extra egg put through the ricer over the whole. Creamed eggs in toast. Make small pieces of nice toast and dip each one in white sauce. Boil hard 4 eggs and cut in even slices and cover the toast, and then spread the rest of the white sauce over all in a thin layer. Deviled eggs. 6 eggs, 2 saltspoonfuls of dry mustard, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1 saltspoonful of cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoonful of olive oil or cream, 1 large tablespoonful of chopped ham, 1/2 teaspoonful of vinegar. Boil the eggs hard for 20 minutes, and put them in cold water at once to get perfectly cold so they will not turn dark. Then peel, cut in halves, and take out the yolks. Put these in a bowl and rub in the seasoning, but you can leave out the ham if you like. With a small teaspoon put the mixture back into the eggs and smooth them over with a knife. If you do not serve these eggs with cold meat, it is best to lay them on lettuce when you send them to the table. Eggs in beds. Chop a cup of nice cold meat and season with a little salt, pepper, and chopped parsley. Add enough stock or hot water just to wet it, and cook till rather dry. Put this in buttered baking dishes, filling each half full, and on top of each gently slip from a cup 1 egg. Sprinkle over with salt and pepper, and put in the oven till firm. End of Part 2. Lunch Eggs.
Lunch recipes of a little cookbook for a little girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 2. Other Lunch Recipes. Shepherd's Pie. This was a dish Margaret used to make on wash day and house cleaning day, and such times when everybody was busy and no one wanted to stop and go to market to buy anything for luncheon. 1 cup of chopped meat, 1 cup of boiling water, 1 teaspoonful of chopped parsley, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1 teaspoonful of lemon juice, or 1/2 teaspoonful Worcestershire sauce. Butter the size of a hickory nut. 2 cups hot mashed potato. If the potato is cold, put 1/2 cup of hot milk in it, beat it up well, and stand it on the back of the stove. Then mix all the other things with the meat, and put in the frying pan, and let it cook till it seems rather dry. Butter a baking dish, and cover the sides and bottom with a layer of potato 1 inch thick. Put the meat in the center and cover it over with potato, and smooth it. Put bits of butter all over the top, and brown it in the oven. Serve with this a dish of chow chow, or one of small cucumber pickles. Chicken hash. 1 cup of cold chicken cut in small even pieces. 1/2 cup chicken stock or hot water. 1 teaspoonful chopped parsley. 1/2 teaspoonful salt. A pinch of pepper. Butter the size of a hickory nut. Put the chicken stock, which is the water the chicken was cooked in, or in chicken broth, or if there is none, the hot water, into the frying pan, and mix in the chicken and seasoning, and cook and stir until it is rather dry. Serve as it is, or on the squares of buttered toast. You can make any cold meat into hash this way, having it different every time. Sometimes you can put in the chopped green pepper as before, or a slice of chopped onion, or a cup of hot seasoned peas, or leave out half the soup or water, and put in a cup of stewed tomato. Broiled sardines. These little fish are really not broiled at all, but that is the name of the nice and easy dish. Take a box of large sardines and drain off all the oil, and lay them on heavy brown paper while you make 4 slices of toast. Trim off the edges and cut them into strips, laying them in a row on a hot platter. Put the sardines into the oven and make them very hot, and lay one on each strip of toast, and sprinkle them with lemon juice, and put sliced lemon and sprigs of parsley all around. Cheese fondue. This was a recipe the pretty aunt put in Margaret's book out of the one she had made at cooking school. 1 cup fresh breadcrumbs, 2 cups grated cheese, 1 cup of milk, 1 bit of soda as large as a pea, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1 pinch of red pepper, 1 teaspoonful of butter, 2 eggs. Put the butter in a saucepan to heat while you beat the eggs light without separating them. Let these stand while you stir everything else into the pan, beginning with the milk. Cook this 5 minutes, stirring all the time, and then put in the eggs and cook 3 minutes more. Put 6 large crackers on a hot platter and pour the whole over them, and send at once to the table to be eaten very hot.
Sometimes Margaret made 3 or 4 slices of toast before she began the fondue, and used those in place of the crackers, and the dish was just as nice. Easy Welsh Rarebit. 2 cups of rich cheese grated, yolks of 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of milk, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, saltspoonful of cayenne. Make 3 nice slices of toast, cut off the crust and cut each piece in 2. Butter these, and very quickly dip each one in boiling water, being careful not to soak them. Put these on a hot platter in the oven. Put the milk in a saucepan over the fire, being careful not to have one that is too hot, only moderate, and when it boils up put in the cheese, and stir without stopping, until the cheese all melts and it looks smooth. Then put in the beaten yolks of the eggs and the seasoning, and pour at once over the toast, and serve very hot. Many people like a saltspoonful of dry mustard mixed in with the pepper. You can also serve this rarebit on toasted and buttered crackers. Scalloped cheese. 6 slices of bread, 3/4 of a pound of cheese, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoonful of butter, 1 cup of cream, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1/2 teaspoonful of dry mustard, 1/4 teaspoonful of paprika. Butter the bread and cut it into strips, and line the bottom and sides of a baking dish with it. Then beat the eggs very light without separating them, and mix everything with them. Put in the dish and bake 1/2 an hour, and serve at once. Veal loaf. 1½ pounds of veal and 2 strips of salt pork chopped together. 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 beaten egg, 1/2 teaspoonful of grated nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoonful of black pepper, 1½ teaspoonfuls of salt. Bake 3 hours. Have the butcher chop the meat all together for you. Then put everything together in a dish and stir in the egg, beaten without separating, and mix very well. Press it into a bread pan and put in the oven for 3 hours by the clock. Every ½ hour pour over it a tablespoonful hot water and butter mixed. You can put a tablespoonful of butter into a cup of water and keep it on the back of the stove ready all the time. After the meat is baked 2 hours, put in a piece of heavy brown paper over the top and keep it there till it is done, or it may get too brown. This is to slice cold. It is very nice for a picnic. Pressed chicken. This was one of the things Margaret liked to make for Sunday night supper. Have a good sized chicken cut up, and wipe each piece with a clean damp cloth. Put them in a kettle or deep saucepan and cover with cold water, and cook very slowly and gently, covered, till the meat falls off the bones. When it begins to grow tender, put in a 1/2 teaspoonful of salt. Take it out and cut it up in nice even pieces, and put all the bones back into the kettle, and let them cook till there is only about 1½ pints of broth. Add a little more salt and a sprinkling of pepper, and strain this through a jelly bag. Mix it with the chicken and put them both into a bread tin, and when cold, put on ice overnight. After it has stood for an hour, put a weight on it to make it firm. Slice with a very sharp knife and put on a platter with parsley all around. This is a nice luncheon dish for a summer day, as well as a supper dish. When you have bits of cold meat which you cannot slice, and yet which you wish to serve in some nice way, make this rule, which sounds difficult, but is really very easy. Meat soufflé. 1 cup of white sauce, 1 cup of chopped meat, 2 eggs, teaspoonful of chopped parsley, 1/2 teaspoonful minced onion. Put the parsley and onion in the meat and mix with the white sauce. Beat the yolks of the eggs and stir in and cook 1 minute and then cool. Beat the whites of the eggs and fold in and bake 1/2 an hour or a little more in a deep buttered baking dish. You must serve this immediately or it will fall. Cold meats. Of course, like other people, Margaret's mother often had cold meat for luncheon or supper, and one of the things her cookbook told her was how to make it look nice when it came on the table. Always trim off all bits of skin and ragged pieces from the meat, and remove the cold fat except on ham, and then you must trim it to a rather narrow edge. If you have a rather small dish for a large family, put slices of hard-boiled eggs around the edge, or make deviled eggs and put those around in halves. Sometimes you can cut lettuce in very narrow ribbons by holding several leaves in your hand at once, folding them lengthwise, and using a pair of scissors. Sometimes a dozen pimolas may be sliced across and put about the meat, especially if it is cold chicken or turkey. Always use parsley with meat, cold or hot. Saratoga potatoes make a good border for lamb or roast beef, and cold peas mixed with mayonnaise are always delicious with either chicken or lamb. If only the dish looks pretty, it is almost certain to taste well. Sliced meat with gravy. When there are a few slices left from a roast, put them in a frying pan with some of the gravy left also, and heat, served with parsley around. If there is not gravy, take a little boiling water, add a little salt, pepper, and half teaspoonful of minced onion, and as much chopped parsley. Lay in the meat in the frying pan, cover, and let it simmer, turning occasionally. A few drops of kitchen bouquet will improve this. It is a brown sauce which comes in small bottles. Some of the things Margaret made for breakfast she made for lunch or supper, too, such as frizzled beef and scalloped eggs and omelets. She had some vegetables besides, such as baked tomatoes. 6 large tomatoes, 1 cup breadcrumbs, half teaspoonful of salt, 1 tablespoonful of butter, 1 slice of onion. Put the butter in the frying pan, and when it bubbles, put in the breadcrumbs, the salt and onion, with a dusting of pepper, and stir till the crumbs are a little brown and the onion is all cooked. Then take out the onion and throw it away. Wipe the tomatoes with a clean wet cloth, and cut out the stem and a round hole or little well in the middle. Fill this with the crumbs, piling them up well on top. Put them in a baking dish and stand them in a hot oven. Mix a cup of hot water with a tablespoonful of butter, and every little while take out the baking dish and wet the tomatoes on top. Cook them about half an hour, or till the skins get wrinkled all over. Serve them in the dish they are cooked in, if you like, or put each one on a small plate. Pour some of the juice in the baking dish over it, and stick a sprig of parsley in the top. Stuffed potatoes. Wash 6 large potatoes and scrub them with a little brush till they are a nice clean light brown, and bake them for half an hour in a hot oven, or if they are quite large, bake them till they are soft and puffy. Cut off one end from each and take out the inside with a teaspoon, holding the potato in a towel as you do so, for it will be very hot. Mix well this potato with 2 tablespoonfuls of rich milk or cream, a half teaspoonful of salt, and just as much butter, and put this back into the shells. Stand the potatoes side by side in a pan close together, the open ends up, till they are browned. End of Part 2. Other lunch recipes. Salads of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 2. Salads. The other aunt said that Margaret could never make salads, but her mother said they were the easiest thing of all to learn. So she did put them in just the same. She bought a tin of olive oil from the Italian grocery, because it was better and cheaper than bottled oil, and she gave Margaret one important direction. When you make salads, always have everything very cold. And after that the rules were easy to follow, and the salads were as nice as could be. French dressing. 3 tablespoons of oil, half teaspoonful lemon juice or vinegar, half teaspoonful of salt, 3 shakes of pepper. Stir together till all is well mixed. Many people prefer this dressing without pepper and with a saltspoonful of sugar in its place. You can try it both ways. Tomato and lettuce salad. Peel 4 tomatoes. You can do this most easily by pouring boiling water over them and skinning them while they wrinkle. But you must drain off all the water afterward, and let them get firm in the ice box. Wash the lettuce and gently pat it dry with a clean cloth. Slice the tomatoes thin, pour off the juice, and arrange 4 slices on each plate of lettuce, or mix them together in the large bowl, and pour the dressing over. Egg salad. Cut up 6 hard-boiled eggs into quarters, lay them on lettuce, and pour the dressing over. Or pass a dish of them with cold meat. Fish salad. Pick up cold fish and pour the dressing over it, and put 2 sliced hard-boiled eggs around it. A few tips of celery, nice white ones, are pretty around the whole. Cauliflower salad. Take cold boiled cauliflower and pick it up into nice pieces. Pour the dressing over and put on the ice till you need it. String bean salad. Take cold string beans, either the green ones or the yellow, pour the dressing over, put on ice, and serve on lettuce. Any cold vegetables can be used besides these, especially asparagus, while lettuce alone is best of all. Pineapple salad. Put large bits of picked up pineapple on white lettuce and pour the dressing over. Orange or grapefruit salad. Peel 3 oranges or 1 grapefruit and scrape off all the white lining of the skin. Divide it into sections or quarters, and with the scissors cut off the thin edge. Turn down the transparent sides and cut these off too, scraping the pulp carefully so as not to waste it. Take out all the seeds, lay the pieces on lettuce, and pour the dressing over. White grapes, cut in halves, with the seeds taken out, are nice mixed with this, and pineapple, grapes, and oranges with a little banana are delicious. Mayonnaise. Yolk of 1 egg, half cup of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice or vinegar, half teaspoonful of salt, pinch of red pepper. Put the yolk of the egg into a very cold bowl. It is better to put the bowl, the egg, the oil, and the beater all on the ice a half hour before you need them, for then the mayonnaise comes quicker. With a Dover egg beater, beat till the yolk is very light indeed. Then have someone else begin to put in the oil, 1 drop at a time, till the mayonnaise becomes so thick it is difficult to turn the beater. Then put in a drop or 2 of lemon or vinegar, and this will then thin it, so you can use the oil again. Keep on doing this till you have nearly a cup of the dressing. If you need more oil than the rule calls for, use it, and toward the last add it 2 or 3 drops at a time. When you have enough and it is stiff enough, put in the pepper and salt, and it is done. Never use mustard except with lobster, as this will spoil the taste. Some salads, especially fruit and vegetable, need very thick mayonnaise, and then it is better to make it with lemon juice, while a fish salad, or one to use with meats, may be thinner, and then the vinegar will do. The lemon juice makes it thick. Always taste it before using it to see if it is just right, and if not, put in more salt or whatever it needs. You will soon learn. Most people think mayonnaise is very difficult to make, but really it is as easy as baking potatoes, after you have once learned how. Every salad given before is just as nice with mayonnaise as with French dressing, and you could try each one both ways. Then there are these, which are better with mayonnaise. Chicken salad. 1 cup of chicken cut in large bits, half cup of celery cut up and then dried, 2 hard-boiled eggs cut into good-sized pieces, 6 olives, stoned and cut up, half cup mayonnaise. Mix all very lightly together, as stirring will make the salad mussy. Put on lettuce. Lobster salad. 1 cup of lobster cut in large bits, 2 hard-boiled eggs cut in pieces, half teaspoonful of dry mustard stirred in, half cup of mayonnaise. Mix and put on lettuce. Celery salad. 2 heads of celery, 3 hard-boiled eggs, or else 1 cup of English walnuts, half cup very stiff mayonnaise. Wash, wipe, and cut the celery into pieces as large as the first joint of your little finger, and then rub it in a clean towel till it is as dry as can be. Cut up the eggs, sprinkle all with salt, and add the mayonnaise and lay on lettuce. Or mix the celery and the walnuts and the mayonnaise. Either salad is nice. Celery and apple salad. 2 sweet apples, 1 head of celery, half cup of English walnuts broken up, half cup mayonnaise. Peel the apples and cut into very small bits. Chop the celery and press in a towel. Chop or break up the walnuts, but save 2 halves for each person besides the half cupful you put in the salad. Mix all together, lay on white hearts of lettuce on plates, and then put the walnuts on top, 2 on each plate. Cabbage salad. Half a small cabbage, 1 cup very stiff mayonnaise, 1 teaspoonful celery seed. Cut the cabbage in 4 pieces and cut out the hard core. Slice the rest very fine on the cutter you use for Saratoga potatoes. Mix with the mayonnaise and put in the salad dish. Sprinkle over with celery seed when you wish it to be very nice, but it will do without this last touch. Cabbage salad in green peppers. Wipe green peppers and cut off the small end of each. Take out the seed and the stem. Fill each pepper with the cabbage salad, letting it stand out at the top. Put each one on a plate on a leaf of lettuce. Stuffed tomato salad. 1 cup of cut up celery, ½ cup of English walnuts, 6 small round tomatoes, 1 cup of mayonnaise. Peel the tomatoes and scoop out as much of the inside as you can. After cutting a round hole in the stem end, make a salad with the celery, the cut up walnuts, and the mayonnaise, and fill the tomatoes, letting it stand up well on top. Serve on plates, each one on a leaf of lettuce. Potato salad. 3 cold boiled potatoes, 3 hard boiled eggs, ½ cup English walnuts, 12 olives. Break up the walnuts, saving a dozen halves unbroken. Cut the potatoes and eggs into bits of even size, as large as the tip of your finger. Stone the olives and cut them up too. Mix them together in a bowl, but do not stir them much, or you will break the potatoes. Sprinkle well with French dressing, and put on the ice. When it is lunch or supper time, mix quickly, only once, with stiff mayonnaise, and put on lettuce. This is a delicious salad to have with cold meats. End of Part 2 Salads.
Treats of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Ingle. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 2. Sweet Treats. Margaret's mother liked to have gingerbread or cookies for lunch often, so those things came next in the cookbook. Gingerbread. 1 cup molasses, 1 egg, 1 teaspoonful of soda, 1 teaspoonful of ginger, 1 tablespoonful melted butter, 1/2 cup of milk, 2 cups of flour. Beat the eggs without separating, but very light. Put the soda into the molasses, put them in the milk with the ginger and butter, then 1 cup of flour, measure in a medium-sized cup and only level, then the egg, and last the rest of the flour. Bake in a buttered biscuit tin. For a change, sometimes add a teaspoonful of cloves and cinnamon mix to this, and a cup of chopped almonds. Or when the gingerbread is ready for the oven, drop over halves of almonds. Soft gingerbread to be eaten hot. 1 cup of molasses, 1/2 cup boiling water, 1/4 cup melted butter, 1½ cups flour, 3/4 teaspoonful soda, 1 teaspoonful ginger, 1/2 teaspoonful salt. Put the soda in the molasses and beat it well in a good-sized bowl. Then put in the melted butter, ginger, salt, and flour, and beat again, and add last the water, very hot indeed. Have a buttered tin ready, and put it at once in the oven. When half baked, it is well to put a piece of paper over it, as all gingerbread burns easily. You can add cloves and cinnamon to this rule, and sometimes you can make it and serve it hot as a pudding, with a sauce of sugar and water, thickened and flavored. Ginger cookies. 1/2 cup butter, 1 cup molasses, 1/2 cup brown sugar, 1 teaspoonful ginger, 1 tablespoonful mixed cinnamon and cloves, 1 teaspoonful soda dissolved in a tablespoonful of water. Flour enough to make it so stiff you cannot stir it with a spoon. Melt the molasses and butter together on the stove, and then take the saucepan off and add the rest of the things in the recipe, and turn the dough out on a floured board and roll it very thin, and cut in circles with a biscuit cutter. Put a little flour on the bottom of 4 shallow pans. Lift the cookies with a cake turner and lay them in, and put them in the oven. They will bake very quickly, so you must watch them. When you want these to be extra nice, put a teaspoonful of mixed cinnamon and cloves in them, and sprinkle the tops with sugar. Grandmother's Sugar Cookies. 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla, flour enough to roll out easily. Rub the butter and sugar to a cream. Put in the milk, then the eggs beaten together lightly, then 2 cups of flour into which you have sifted the baking powder, then the vanilla. Take a bit of this and put it on the floured board and see if it rolls out easily, and if it does not, but is soft and sticky, put in a handful more of flour. These cookies must not be any stiffer than you can help, or they will not be good, so try not to use any more flour than you must. End of Part 2, Sweet Treats.
Drinks of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Engel. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 2. Drinks. They usually had tea for luncheon or supper at Margaret's house, but sometimes they had chocolate instead, so these things came next in the cookbook. Tea. 1/2 teaspoonful of black tea for each person. 1/2 teaspoonful for the pot. Boiling water. Fill the kettle half full of fresh cold water, because you cannot make good tea with water which has been once heated. When it is very hot, fill the china teapot and put it where it will keep warm. When the water boils very hard, empty out the teapot, put in the tea, and put on the boiling water. Do not stand it on the stove, as too many people do, but send it right to the table. It will be ready as soon as it is time to pour it, about 3 minutes. If you're making tea for only 1 person, you will need a teaspoonful of tea, as you will see by the rule, and 2 small cups of water will be enough. If for more, put in a 1/2 teaspoonful for each person, and 1 cup of water more. Iced tea. Put in a deep pitcher 1 teaspoonful of dry tea for each person and 2 over. Pour on a cup of boiling water for each person, and cover the pitcher and let it stand 5 minutes. Then stir well, strain, and pour while still hot on large pieces of ice. Put in a glass pitcher and serve a bowl of cracked ice, a lemon sliced thin, and a bowl of powdered sugar with it. Pour it into glasses instead of cups. Lemonade. Sometimes in the afternoon Margaret's aunts had tea and cakes or wafers, and in summer they often had iced tea or lemonade. This is the way Margaret made lemonade. Squeeze 4 lemons and add 10 teaspoonfuls of powdered sugar. Stir till it dissolves. Add 6 glasses of water and strain. Pour in a glass pitcher and serve with glasses filled half full of cracked ice. If you want this very nice, put a little shredded pineapple with the lemons. Sometimes the juice of red raspberries is liked also. Lemonade with grape juice. Make the lemonade as before and add half as much bottled grape juice, but do not put in any other fruit. Serve with plenty of ice in small glasses. Chocolate. 2 cups boiling water, 2 cups of boiling milk, 4 teaspoonfuls grated chocolate, 4 teaspoonfuls of sugar. Scrape the chocolate off the bar, mix it with the boiling water, and stir till it dissolves. Mix the milk and sugar in then, and boil for 1 minute. If you wish to have it nicer, put a small teaspoonful of vanilla in the chocolate pot, and pour the hot chocolate in on it when it is done, and have a little bowl of whipped cream to send to the table with it, so that 1 spoonful may be put on top of each cup. Cocoa. 6 teaspoonfuls of cocoa, 1 1/2 cups of boiling water, 1 1/2 cups of boiling milk, 1 tablespoonful powdered sugar. Put the cocoa into the boiling water and stir till it dissolves. Then put in the boiling milk and boil hard 2 minutes, stirring it all the time. Take from the fire and put in the sugar and stir again. If you like it quite sweet, you may have to use more sugar. End of Part 2, Drinks.
The things Margaret made for dinner. Section 14, Soups. Of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Part 3, Section 14, Soups. At first, of course, Margaret could not get dinner all alone. Indeed, it took her almost a year to learn how to cook everything needed: soup, vegetables, meat, salad, and dessert. But at first she helped Bridget, and each day she cooked something. Then she began to arrange very easy dinners when Bridget was out, such as cream soup, beefsteak, or veal cutlet, with potatoes and 1 vegetable, and a plain lettuce salad, with a cold dessert made in the morning. The first time she really did every single thing alone, Margaret's father gave her $1. He said it was a tip for the best dinner he ever ate. Soups. The soups in the little cookbook began with those made of milk and vegetables, because they were so easy to make, and when one was learned, all were made in the same way. First there was the general rule: 1 pint of fresh vegetable cut up in small pieces, or 1 can. 1 pint of boiling water, 1 pint of hot milk, 1 tablespoonful of flour, 1 tablespoon of butter, half a teaspoonful of salt, 3 shakes of pepper. After the vegetable is washed and cut in very small pieces, put it in the pint of water and cook it for 20 minutes. Or if you use a canned vegetable, cook it 10 minutes. While it is cooking, make the rule for white sauce as before. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter, and when it bubbles put in 1 tablespoonful of flour, with the salt and pepper, shake well, and rub smooth and thick with the hot milk. Take the vegetable from the fire and press it through the wire sieve, letting the water go through too. Mix with the sauce and strain again, and it is done. Almost all soups are better for 1 very thin slice of onion cooked with the vegetable. When you want a cream soup very nice indeed, whip a cup of cream and put in the hot soup tureen and pour the soup on it, beating it a little, till it is all foamy. Cream of corn. 1 pint of fresh grated corn, or 1 can. 1 pint of water, 1 pint of hot milk, 1 tablespoon of flour, 1 tablespoon of butter, half a teaspoonful of salt, 3 shakes of pepper, 1 thin slice of onion. Cook the corn with the water, make the white sauce with the milk, strain the corn and water through the sieve, pressing well, and add the milk and strain again. Cream of green peas. 1 pint of peas, or 1 can. Milk, water, and seasoning as before, mix by the general rule. In winter time you can make a nice soup by taking dried peas, soaking them overnight, and using them as you would fresh. All pea soup should have dropped in it just before serving what are called croutons, that is, small even cubes of bread toasted to a nice brown in the oven, or put in a frying pan with a tiny bit of butter, and browned. Cream of lima beans. 1 pint of fresh or canned beans, or those which have been soaked. Use milk, water, thickening, and seasoning as before. Add a slice of onion, as these beans have little taste, and beat the yolk of an egg and stir in quickly, after you have taken the soup from the fire, just before you strain it for the second time. Cream of potato. This is one of the best and most delicate soups. 5 freshly boiled potatoes, 1 slice of onion, 1 quart of hot milk, 1 small teaspoonful of salt, 1 teaspoonful chopped parsley. This soup has no water in it, because that which has had potatoes boiled in it is always spoiled for anything else, and must always be thrown away. That is why you must take a quart of milk instead of a pint. There is no thickening in the soup, because the potatoes will thicken it themselves. Put the parsley in at the very last, after the soup is in the tureen. The yolk of an egg beaten and put in before the second straining is nice sometimes in this soup, but not necessary. Cream of almonds. This was what Margaret called a dinner party soup, because it seemed almost too good for every day; but as her mother explained, almonds cost no more than canned tomatoes or peas, and the family can have the soup as well as guests, provided one has plenty of cream. 1 cup of chopped almonds. 1 quart of thin cream. Small half teaspoonful of salt. Get 10 cents worth of Jordan almonds and put them in boiling water for 1 minute, then pour off the water and put on cold till they are well chilled. Turn this off and push the almonds out of their skins one by one. If they stick, it is because they were not in the hot water long enough, and you must put them back into it, and then into the cold. Chop them while the cream heats in the double boiler, and then put them in with the salt, and simmer 10 minutes and then strain. This soup is especially delicious if whipped cream is either mixed with it at the end or served on top. You can also make good almond soup by using the regular rule, cooking the chopped nuts in a pint of water, adding the thickened pint of milk and seasoning, and straining twice. Then, after it is in the tureen, you must put in the egg beater and whip it well to make it light. Cream of spinach. 1 pint cold cooked spinach. 1 quart of milk. Heat the spinach, using a little of the quart of milk with it, and press through the sieve. Thicken the rest of the milk and the seasoning, and strain again. It is better to use cayenne pepper instead of black with spinach. Cream of tomato soup, called tomato bisque. 4 large tomatoes, cut up, or half a can, with half a cup of water. 2 slices of onion, 2 sprigs of parsley, 1 teaspoonful sugar, half teaspoonful salt, 1/4 teaspoonful soda, 1 quart of milk, 1 tablespoonful butter, 1 tablespoonful flour. Cook the tomatoes with the onion, parsley, and sugar and salt for 20 minutes. Mix in the soda and stir well. The soda prevents the milk from curdling. Make the milk and flour and butter into white sauce as usual. Strain the tomato, mix the two, and strain again. Sometimes add a stalk of celery to the other seasoning as it cooks. Cream of clams. 1 dozen hard clams, or 1 bunch of soft ones. 1 quart of rich milk. 1 tablespoonful butter. 1 tablespoonful flour. 3 shakes of pepper. Chop the clams and drain off the juice, and add as much water. Cook till the scum rises and skim this off. Drop in the clams and cook 3 minutes. Heat the milk and thicken as usual. Put the clams in juice. Cook for 1 minute and strain. Notice that there is no salt in this soup. A cup of cream, whipped, either put on top or stirred in, is very nice. Oyster soup. 1 pint of oysters. Half a pint of water. 1 quart rich milk. Half teaspoonful salt. Drain off the oyster juice, add the water, boil it for 1 minute, and skim it well. Heat the milk and mix it with this. Drop in the oysters and cook 1 minute, or till the edges begin to curl, and it is done. The soup is not thickened at all, but if you like, you may add 2 tablespoonfuls of finely powdered and sifted cracker crumbs. Meat soup, or bouillon made from extract. This Margaret made from beef extract, before she learned to use the fresh beef. 2 teaspoonfuls of extract, or 2 capsules. 1 quart of boiling water. Half an onion, sliced. 1 stalk of celery. Half teaspoonful salt. 2 shakes of pepper. 2 sprays of parsley. Simmer this for 20 minutes. Strain and pour over 6 thin slices of lemon, 1 for each plate. Serve with hot crackers. Cream bouillon. Make this same soup and pour it over half a pint of thick cream, well whipped. Do not put any lemon in it. Serve with hot crackers. Meat soups. You can make meat soup or stock out of almost any kind of meat, cooked or raw, with bones or without. Many cooks never buy fresh meat for it, and others think they must always have it. It is best to learn both ways. Plain meat soup. 1 shin of beef, 5 quarts of water, 1 small tablespoonful of salt, 1 head celery cut up, 1 onion, 1 carrot, 1 turnip, 1 sprig of parsley, 2 bay leaves, 6 whole cloves. Wipe the meat and cut off all the bone. Put the bone in a clean kettle first, and then the meat on top, and pour in the water, cover, and let this stand on the back of the stove an hour. Then draw it forward and let it cook. This will bring scum on the water in half an hour, and you must carefully pour in a cup of cold water and skim off everything which rises to the top. Cover the kettle tightly and cook very slowly indeed for 4 hours. Then put in the cut up vegetables and cook 1 hour more, always just simmering, not boiling hard. Then it is done and you can put in the salt and strain the soup first through a heavy wire sieve, then through a flannel bag, and set it away to get cold, and you will have a strong, clear, delicious stock, which you can put many things in to have variety. Clear vegetable soup. Slice 1 carrot, turnip, and 1 potato, and cut them either into small, even strips, or into tiny cubes, or take a vegetable cutter and cut out fancy shapes. Simmer them about 20 minutes. Meanwhile, take a pint of soup stock and a cup of water and heat them. Sprinkle a little salt over the vegetables and drain them. Put them in the soup tureen and pour the hot soup over. Split pea soup. 1 pint split peas, 1 1/2 quarts of boiling water, 1 quart of soup stock, 1 small teaspoonful of salt, 3 shakes of pepper. Wash the peas in cold water and throw away those which float, as they are bad. Soak them overnight, and in the morning pour away the water on them, and cover them with a quart of boiling water in the rule, and cook an hour and a half. Put in the rest of the water in the stock, and press the whole through a sieve, and after washing and wiping the kettle, put the soup back to heat, adding the salt and pepper. Tomato soup. 1 can tomatoes, or 1 quart of fresh stewed ones, 1 pint of stock. You can use water instead in this soup if necessary. 1/4 teaspoonful soda, 1 tablespoonful of butter, 2 tablespoonfuls of flour, 1 teaspoonful of sugar, 1 small onion, cut up, 1 sprig of parsley, 1 bay leaf, 1 small teaspoonful of salt, 3 shakes of pepper. Put the tomatoes into a saucepan with the parsley, onion, bay leaf, and stock, or water, and cook 15 minutes, and then strain through a sieve. Wash the saucepan and put the tomatoes back in it, and put it on to boil again. Melt the butter, rub smooth with the flour, and put into the soup while it boils, and stir till it is perfectly smooth. Then add the sugar, salt, and pepper and soda, and strain into the hot tureen. Serve croutons with this soup. Soup made with cooked meats. Put all the bones, bits of meat, and vegetables which are in the refrigerator into 1 large kettle on the back of the fire, and simmer all day in enough boiling water to cover it all, adding more water as this cooks away. Skim carefully from time to time. If there are not many vegetables to go in, put parsley and onion in their place. At night strain right through the sieve, then through the flannel, and cool. This stock is never clear as is that made from fresh meat, but it is almost as good for thick soups, such as pea or tomato. Chicken or turkey soup. Break up the bones and cover with cold water, add a slice of onion, a bay leaf, and a sprig of parsley, and cook all day, adding water when necessary, and skimming. Cool, take off the grease, heat again, and strain. Serve with small, even squares of chicken meat in it, or a little cooked rice and salt. Many people like a small pinch of cinnamon in turkey soup. End of Part 3. Soups.
Of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3. Vegetables. Mashed potatoes. 6 large potatoes, 1/2 cup hot milk, butter the size of a hickory nut, 3 teaspoonfuls of salt, 3 shakes of pepper. Peel and boil the potatoes till tender, then turn off the water and stand them on the back of the stove with a cover half over them, where they will keep hot while they get dry and floury, but do not let them burn. Shake the saucepan every little while. Heat the milk with butter, salt, and pepper in it. Mash the potatoes well, either with the wooden potato masher or with a wire one, and put in the milk little by little. When they are all free from lumps, put them through the potato ricer, or pile them lightly in the tureen as they are. Do not smooth them over the top. Sweet potatoes. If they are large, scrub them well, and bake in a hot oven for about 40 minutes. If they are small, make them into creamed sweet potatoes. Boil the potatoes, skin them, and cut them up into small slices. Make a cup of cream sauce, mix with them, and put them in the oven for half an hour. Scalloped sweet potatoes.
Boil 6 potatoes in well salted water till they are tender. Skin them, slice them thin, and put a layer of them in a buttered baking dish. Sprinkle with brown sugar, and put on more potatoes and more sugar till the dish is full. Bake for 3/4 of an hour. Beets. Wash the beets, but do not peel them. Boil them gently for 3/4 of an hour, or till they can be pierced easily with a straw. Then skin them and slice in a hot dish, dusting each layer with a little salt, pepper, and melted butter. Those which are left over may have a little vinegar poured over them, to make them into pickles for luncheon. Once Margaret made something very nice by a recipe her pretty aunt put in her book. It was called stuffed beets. 1 can French peas, 6 medium-sized beets. Boil the beets as before and skin them, but leave them whole. Heat the peas after the juice has been turned off, and season them with salt and pepper. Cut off the stem end of each beet so it will stand steadily, and scoop a round place in the other end. Sprinkle each beet with salt and pepper, and put a tiny bit of butter down in this little well, and then fill it high with the peas it will hold. Creamed cabbage. 1 small cabbage, 1 cup cream sauce. Take off the outside leaves of the cabbage, cut it up in 4 pieces, and cut out the hard core, and lay it in cold salted water for half an hour. Then wipe it dry and slice it, not too fine, and put it in a saucepan. Cover it with boiling water with a teaspoonful of salt in it, and boil hard for 15 minutes without any cover. While it is cooking, make a cup of cream sauce. Take up the cabbage, press it in the colander with a plate till all the water is out. Put it in a hot covered dish, sprinkle well with salt, and pour the cream sauce over. This will not have any unpleasant odor in cooking, and it will be so tender and easy to digest that even a little girl may have 2 helpings. If you like it to look green, put a tiny bit of soda in the water when you cook it. Lima beans. Shell them and cook like peas. Pour over them a half cup of cream sauce, if you like this better than having them dry. Peas. Shell them and drop them into a saucepan of boiling water, into which you have put a teaspoonful of salt and 1 of sugar. Boil them till they are tender, from 15 minutes, if they are fresh from the garden, to half an hour or more, if they have stood in the grocer's for a day or 2. When they are done they will have little dents in their sides, and you can easily mash 2 or 3 with a fork on a plate. Then drain off the water, put in 3 shakes of pepper, more salt if they do not taste just right, and a piece of butter the size of a hickory nut, and shake them till the butter melts. Serve in a hot covered dish. String beans. Pull off the strings and cut off the ends. Hold 3 or 4 beans in your hand and cut them into long, very narrow strips, not into square pieces. Then cook them exactly as you did the peas. Stewed tomatoes. 6 large tomatoes, 1 teaspoonful of salt, 1 teaspoonful of sugar, 1 pinch soda, 3 shakes of pepper, butter as large as an English walnut. Peel and cut the tomatoes up small, saving the juice. Put together in a saucepan with the seasoning, the soda mixed in a teaspoonful of water before it is put in. Simmer 20 minutes, stirring till it is smooth, and last put in half a cup of bread or cracker crumbs, or a cup of toast cut into small bits. Serve in a hot covered dish. Asparagus. Untie the bunch, scrape the stalks clean, and put it in cold water for half an hour. Tie the bunch again, and cut enough off the white ends to make all the pieces the same length. Stand them in boiling water in a porcelain kettle, and cook gently for about 20 minutes. Lay on a platter on squares of buttered toast, and pour over the toast and the tips of the asparagus a cup of cream sauce. Or do not put it on toast, but pour melted butter over the tips after it is on the platter. To make it delicious, mix the juice of a lemon with the butter. Sometimes put a little grated cheese on the ends last of all. Onions. Peel off the outside skin and cook them in boiling salted water till they are tender. Drain them, put them in a baking dish, and pour over them a tablespoonful of melted butter, 3 shakes of pepper, and a sprinkling of salt, and put in the oven and brown very little. Or cover them with a cup of white sauce instead of the melted butter, and sprinkle with salt and pepper, but do not put in the oven. Corn. Strip off the husks and silk and put in a kettle of boiling water and boil hard for 15 minutes. Do not salt the water, as salt makes corn tough. Put a napkin on a platter with one end hanging over the end, lay the corn on, and fold the end of the napkin over to keep it warm. Canned corn. Turn the corn into the colander and pour water through it a moment. Heat a cup of milk with a tablespoonful of butter, a teaspoonful of salt, and 3 shakes of pepper, and mix with the corn and cook for 2 minutes. Or put in a buttered baking dish and brown in the oven. Many people never wash corn. It is better to do so. Sometimes Margaret had boiled rice for dinner in place of potatoes, and then she looked back at the recipe she used when she cooked it for breakfast, and made it in just the same way. Very often in the winter she had macaroni. 6 long pieces of macaroni, 1 cup white sauce, ½ pound of cheese, paprika and salt. Break up the macaroni into small pieces and boil 15 minutes in salted water, shaking the dish often. Pour off the water and hold the dish under the cold water faucet until all the paste is washed off the outside of the macaroni, which will take only a minute if you turn it over once or twice. Butter a baking dish, put in a layer of macaroni, a good sprinkle of salt, then a very little white sauce, and a layer of grated cheese, sprinkled over with a tiny dusting of paprika or sweet red pepper, if you have it, only use a tiny bit. Then cover with a thin layer of white sauce, and so on till the dish is full, with the last layer of white sauce covered with an extra thick one of cheese. Bake till brown. Margaret's mother got this rule in Paris, and she thought it a very nice one. After the soup, meat, and vegetables at dinner came the salad. For this Margaret almost always had lettuce, with French dressing, as mayonnaise seemed too heavy for dinner. Sometimes she had nice watercress. Once in a long time she had celery with mayonnaise. End of Part 3, Vegetables.
Desserts of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Engel. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3. Desserts. Cornstarch pudding. 1 pint of milk, 2 heaping tablespoonfuls of cornstarch, 3 tablespoonfuls of sugar, whites of 3 eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful vanilla. Beat the whites of the eggs very stiff. Mix the cornstarch with 1/2 cup of the milk and stir till it melts. Mix the rest of the milk and the sugar and put them on the fire in the double boiler. When it bubbles, stir up the cornstarch and milk well, and stir them in and cook and stir till it gets as thick as oatmeal mush. Then turn in the eggs and stir them lightly, and cook for a minute more. Take it off the stove, mix in the vanilla, and put in a mold to cool. When dinner is ready, turn it out on a platter and put small bits of red jelly around it, or pieces of preserved ginger, or a pretty circle of preserved peaches or preserved pineapple. Have a pitcher of cream to pass with it, or have a nice bowl of whipped cream. If you have a ring mold, let it harden in that, and have the whipped cream piled in the center after it is on the platter, and put the jelly or preserves around last. Chocolate cornstarch pudding. Use the same rule as before, but put in 1 more tablespoonful of sugar. Then shave thin 2 squares of baker's chocolate and stir in over the tea kettle till it melts, and stir it in very thoroughly before you put in the eggs. Instead of pouring this into 1 large mold, put it in the egg cups to harden. Turn these out carefully, each on a separate plate, and put a spoonful of whipped cream by each one. Coconut cornstarch pudding. Make the first rule. Before you put in the eggs, stir in a cup of grated coconut with an extra spoonful of sugar, or a cup of that which comes in packages without more sugar, as it is already sweetened. Serve in a large mold, or in small ones, with cream. Baked custard. 2 cups milk, yolks of 2 eggs, 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar, a little nutmeg. Beat the eggs till they are light. Mix the milk and sugar till the sugar melts. Put the 2 together and put it into a nice baking dish, or into small cups, and dust the nutmeg over the tops. Bake till the top is brown, and till when you put a knife blade into the custard it comes out clean. Coconut custard. Add a cup of coconut to this rule and bake it in one dish, stirring it up 2 or 3 times from the bottom, but after it begins to brown, leaving it alone to finish. Do not put any nutmeg on it. Tapioca pudding. 2 tablespoonfuls tapioca, yolks of 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 quart of milk. Put the tapioca into a small 1/2 cup of water and let it stand 1 hour. Then drain it and put it in the milk in the double boiler and cook and stir it till the tapioca looks clear like glass. Beat the eggs and mix the sugar with them, and beat again till both are light, and put them with the milk and tapioca and cook 3 minutes, stirring all the time. Then take it off the fire and add a saltspoonful of salt and a 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla and let it get perfectly cold. Floating island. 1 pint milk, 3 eggs, 1/3 cup of sugar. Put the milk on the stove to heat in a good-sized pan. Beat the whites of the eggs very stiff, and as soon as the milk scalds, that is, gets a little wrinkly on top, drop spoonfuls of the egg onto it in little islands. Let them stand there to cook just 1 minute, and then with the skimmer take them off and lay them on a plate. Put the milk where it will keep hot, but not boil, while you beat the yolks of the eggs stiff, mixing in the sugar and beating that too. Pour the milk into the bowl of egg, a little at a time, beating all the while, and then put it in the double boiler and cook till it is as thick as cream. Take it off the fire, stir in a saltspoonful of salt and 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla, and set it away to cool. When it is dinner time, strain the custard into a pretty dish and slip the whites off the top one by one. If you like, you can dot them over with very tiny specks of red jelly. Cake and custard. Make a plain boiled custard, just as before, with 1 pint of milk, yolks of 3 eggs, 1/3 cup sugar, 1 saltspoonful of salt, 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla. Beat the eggs and sugar, add the hot milk, and cook till creamy. Put in the salt and vanilla, and cool. Then cut stale cake into strips, or split ladies' fingers into halves, and spread with jam. Put them on the sides and bottom of a flat glass dish, and gently pour the custard over. Brown Betty. Peel, core, and slice 6 apples. Butter a baking dish, and sprinkle the inside all over with fine breadcrumbs. Then take 6 very thin slices of buttered bread and line the sides and bottom of the dish. Put a layer of apples an inch thick, a layer of brown sugar, 6 bits of butter, and a dusting of cinnamon, another layer of crumbs, another of apples and sugar, and so on till the dish is full, with crumbs and butter on top, and 3 tablespoonfuls of molasses poured over. Bake this 1 hour and have hard sauce to eat with it. Lemon pudding. 1 cup of sugar, 4 eggs, 2 lemons, 1 pint of milk, 1 tablespoonful of sugar, 2 tablespoonfuls of cornstarch, 1 pinch of salt. Wet the cornstarch with 1/2 cup of the milk, and heat what is left. Stir up the cornstarch well, and when the milk is hot, put it in and stir. Then boil 5 minutes, stirring all the time. Melt the butter, and put that in with a pinch of salt, and cool it. Beat the yolks of the eggs and add the sugar, the juice of both lemons, and the grated rind of one. Pour into the milk and stir well. Put in a buttered baking dish and bake till slightly brown. Take it out of the oven, beat the whites of 2 eggs with a tablespoon of granulated sugar, and pile lightly on top, and put in the oven again till it is just brown. This is a very nice rule. Rice pudding with raisins. 1 quart of milk, 2 tablespoonfuls of rice, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup seeded raisins. Wash the rice and the raisins, and stir everything together till the sugar dissolves. Then put it in a baking dish in the oven. Every little while open the door and see if a light brown crust is forming on top, and if it is, stir the pudding all up from the bottom and push down the crust. Keep on doing this till the rice swells and makes the milk all thick and creamy, which it will after about an hour. Then let the pudding cook. and when it is a nice deep brown, take it out and let it get very cold. Bread pudding. 2 cups of milk, 1 cup soft breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoonful of sugar, 2 egg yolks, 1 egg white, 1/2 teaspoonful vanilla, 1 saltspoonful of salt. Crumb the bread evenly and soak in the milk till soft. Beat it till smooth and put in the beaten yolks of the eggs, the sugar, vanilla, and salt, and last the beaten white of the egg. Put it in a buttered pudding dish and stand this in a pan of hot water in the oven for 15 minutes. Take it out and spread its top with jam, and cover with the beaten white of the other egg, with 1 tablespoonful of granulated sugar put in it, and brown in the oven. You can eat this as it is, or with cream, and you may serve it either hot or cold. Sometimes you can put a cup of washed raisins into the breadcrumbs and milk, and mix in the other things. Sometimes you can put in a cup of chopped almonds, or a little preserved ginger. Orange marmalade is especially nice on bread pudding. Orange pudding. Make just like lemon pudding, but use 3 oranges instead of 2 lemons. Cabinet pudding. 1 pint of milk, yolks of 3 eggs, 3 tablespoonfuls of sugar, 1 saltspoonful of salt. Beat the eggs, add the sugar, and stir them into the milk, which must be very hot, but not boiling. Stir till it thickens, and then take it from the fire. Put a layer of washed raisins in the bottom of a mold, then a layer of slices of stale cake or ladyfingers, then more raisins around the edge of the mold, and more cake till the mold is full. Pour the custard over very slowly so the cake will soak well, and bake in a pan of water in the oven for an hour. This pudding is to be eaten hot with any sauce you like, such as foamy sauce. Cut up figs are nice to use with the raisins, and chopped nuts are a delicious addition dropped between the layers of the cake. Cottage pudding. 1 egg, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of milk, 1 1/2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoonful of butter. Beat the yolk of the egg light, add the sugar and butter mixed, then put in the milk, the flour, the whites of the eggs beaten stiff, and last of all the baking powder, and stir it up well. Put in a greased pan and bake nearly half an hour. If you want this very nice, put in 1/2 cup of chopped figs mixed with part of the flour. Serve with foamy sauce. Prune whips. This was a cooking school rule which the pretty aunt put in because she said it was the best sort of pudding for little girls to make. 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoonfuls stewed prunes, white of 1 egg. Cook the prunes till soft. Take out the stones and mash the prunes fine. Beat the white of the eggs very stiff. Mix in the sugar and prunes, and bake in small buttered dishes. Serve hot or cold with cream. Junket. 1 junket tablet, 1 quart milk, 1/2 cup sugar, 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Break up the junket tablet into small pieces, and put them into a tablespoonful of water to dissolve. Put the sugar into the milk with the vanilla, and stir till it is dissolved. Warm the milk a little, but only till it is as warm as your finger, so that if you try it by touching it with the tip, you do not feel it at all as colder or warmer. Then quickly turn in the water with the tablet melted in it, stirring it only once, and pour immediately into small cups on the table. These must stand for half an hour without being moved, and then the junket will be stiff, and the cups can be put in the ice box. In winter you must warm the cups till they are like the milk. This is very nice with a spoonful of whipped cream on each cup, and bits of preserved ginger or of jelly on it. End of Part 3, Desserts.
Part 3, Shortcakes, of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Shortcakes. Strawberry shortcake. Margaret's mother called this the 1,000-mile shortcake because she sent so far for the recipe to the place where she had once eaten it, when she thought it the best that she had ever tasted. 1 pint flour, ½ cup butter, 1 egg, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, ½ cup milk, 1 saltspoonful of salt. Mix the baking powder and salt with the flour and sift all together. The butter should stand on the kitchen table till it is warm and ready to melt, when it may be mixed in with a spoon, and then the egg, well beaten, and the milk. Divide the dough into halves, put one in a round biscuit tin, butter it, and lay the other half on top evenly. Bake a light brown. When you take it out of the oven, let it cool and lift the layer apart. Mash the berries, keeping out some of the biggest ones for the top of the cake, and put on the bottom layer. Put a small ½ cup of powdered sugar on them, and put the top layer on. Dust this over with sugar till it is white, and set the large berries about on it, or cover the top with whipped cream and put the berries on this. Cake shortcake. 1 small cup sugar, ½ cup butter, 1 cup cold water, 1 egg, 2 cups flour, 3 teaspoonfuls baking powder. Rub the butter and sugar to a cream. Sift the flour and baking powder together. Beat the egg stiff without separating. Put the egg with the sugar and butter. Add the water and flour in turn, a little at a time, stirring steadily. Bake in 2-layer tins. Put crushed berries between and whole berries on top. Tiny field strawberries make the most delicious shortcake of all. Peach shortcake. Make either of the rules above and put mashed and sweetened peaches between the layers. Slice evenly about 4 more and arrange these on top, making a ring of them overlapping all around the edge and laying them inside in the same way. Sugar well and serve with whipped cream or a pitcher of plain cream. End of Part 3, Shortcakes.
Gelatins of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Cecilia Hobbs. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Gelatins. Lemon jelly. Half box gelatin, ½ cup cold water, 2 cups boiling water, 1 cup sugar, juice of 3 lemons, and 3 scrapings of the yellow grind. Put the gelatin into the cold water and soak 1 hour. Put the boiling water, the sugar, and the scrapings of the peel on the fire and stir till the sugar dissolves. Take it off the fire and stir in the gelatin and mix it till it is dissolved. When it is partially cooled, turn in the lemon juice and strain through a flannel bag dipped in water and wrung dry. Put in a pretty mold. Orange jelly. Make this exactly as you did the lemon jelly, only instead of taking the juice of 3 lemons, take the juice of 2 oranges and 1 lemon, and scrape the orange peel instead of the lemon peel. Whipped cream is nicer with either of these jellies. Prune jelly. Wash well a cup of prunes and cover them with cold water and soak overnight. In the morning, put them on the fire in the same water and simmer till so tender that the stones will slip out. Cut each prune in 2 and sprinkle with sugar as you lay them in the mold. Pour over the lemon jelly made by the recipe above and put on ice. Take out the pretty dish and put whipped cream around. Sometimes Margaret cooled lemon jelly with red raspberry juice and piled sugared raspberries around the mold. Lemon jelly is one of the best things to put things with. Peaches may be used instead of prunes in this rule, or strawberries with plenty of sugar and bits of pineapple. Fruit jelly. Make a plain lemon jelly as before. Cut up very thin 2 oranges, 1 banana, 6 figs, and a handful of white grapes, which you have seeded and sweetened them. Put them in a mold and pour in the jelly. As it begins to grow firm, and gently lift the fruit from the bottom once or twice. You can also fill the mold quite full of fruit and make only half the jelly and pour over. Whipped cream is nice to eat with this. Coffee jelly. ½ box of gelatin, ½ cup of cold water, 1 pint strong hot coffee, 3/4 cup sugar, ½ pint boiling water. Put the gelatin in the cold water and soak 2 minutes and pour over it the coffee boiling hot. When it is dissolved, put in the sugar and boiling water and strain. Put in individual molds and turn out with whipped cream under each one, or set in a large mold and have whipped cream around it. Snow pudding. Half box of gelatin, 1 pint of cold water, 3 eggs, juice of 3 lemons, half cup of powdered sugar. Pour the water over the gelatin and let it stand 10 minutes. Then put the bowl over the fire and stir till it is dissolved, and take it off at once. As soon as it seems nearly cold, beat to a froth with the egg beater. Beat the whites of the eggs stiffly and add to the gelatin with the lemon juice and sugar and mix well. Put in the mold and set on ice. Make a soft custard by the rule and pour over the pudding when you serve it. Velvet cream. 1/4 box of gelatin, 1 pint milk, 2 eggs, 3 tablespoonfuls of sugar, small teaspoonful of vanilla. Put in the gelatin in the milk and soak 15 minutes. Put on the stove and heat till it steams. Do not let it boil. Stir carefully often, as there is danger of its burning. Beat the yolks of the eggs with the sugar and put these in the custard, and cook till it thickens and is smooth. Do not boil it. Strain, cool, and add the vanilla and last fold in the beaten whites of the eggs and put in a mold on the ice. Preserved peaches laid around this are very nice. A rich pineapple or apricot jam or a ring of whipped cream with bits of red jelly make a pretty border. Easy Charlotte Russe. 1/4 box gelatin, half pint of milk, 1 pint thick cream, half cup powdered sugar, 1 small teaspoonful vanilla. Put the gelatin in the milk and stand on the stove till the gelatin is dissolved, stirring often. Then take it off, beat with the egg beater till cold. Beat the cream with the egg beater till perfectly stiff, put in the sugar and vanilla and mix with the milk and set on ice in a mold. When you wish to use it, turn out and put ladyfingers split in half all around it. End of Part 3, Gelatins. Recording by Cecilia Hobbs. Pudding Sauces of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Cecilia Hobbs. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3. Pudding Sauces. Orange sauce. 3 egg whites, 1/2 cup powdered sugar, juice of 2 oranges, grated rind. Beat the egg whites very stiff, add the sugar and then grated orange peel, then the juice, beat up lightly and serve at once. Delicious maple sauce. 2 egg yolks, 1/4 cup maple syrup, 1/2 cup whipped cream. Beat the yolks very light, putting in a pinch of salt. Put in the syrup and cook till the spoon coats over when you dip it in. Then cool and beat in the whipped cream and serve very cold.
Hard sauce. Beat together a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and a 1/2 cup of butter with a fork until both are light and creamy. Flavor with a teaspoonful of vanilla and put on the ice to harden.
Foamy sauce. 1/2 cup butter, 1/2 cup boiling water, 1 cup powdered sugar, 1 teaspoonful vanilla, white of 1 egg. Rub the butter and sugar to a cream, add vanilla and beat well. When it is time to serve, beat the eggs stiff, stir in the boiling water into the sugar and butter, and then put in the egg and beat till foamy, standing it on the stove as you do to keep it hot. Serve in the sauce boat. Grandmother's sauce. 1 cup sugar, 1/2 cup butter, yolk of 2 eggs, 1/4 cup boiling water, a dust of nutmeg. Cream the butter and sugar, stir in the beaten yolk, and last the boiling water. Beat till foamy and then dust with nutmeg. Lemon sauce. White of 1 egg, 1/2 cup powdered sugar, juice of a 1/2 a lemon. Beat the egg, add the sugar and lemon, and beat again. White sauce. 1 tablespoonful of cornstarch, 1/2 cup cold water, 1 cup boiling water, 1/2 cup powdered sugar, pinch of salt, 2 whites of eggs, 1 teaspoonful Alon's extract. Dissolve the cornstarch in the cold water and then add the boiling water and sugar and salt and cook for 15 minutes, stirring all the time. Take from the fire and fold in the stiffly beaten egg whites with the flavoring and beat till perfectly cold. Any flavoring will do for this sauce. Pistache is very nice. Quick pudding sauce: 1 egg, 1/2 cup powdered sugar, 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Put the egg in a bowl without separating it and beat till very light. Then pour in the sugar very slowly, beating all the time. Add the vanilla and serve at once. This is a very nice sauce and so simple to make that Margaret learned it among the first of her rules.
End of Part 3, Pudding Sauces.
Ice Creams and Ices of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sweet Pea. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Ice Creams and Ices. Margaret had a little ice cream freezer which was all her own, and held only enough for 2 little girls to eat at a tea party, and this she could pack alone. When she made ice cream for all the family she had to use the larger freezer, of course, and this Bridget helped her to pack. But the same rule was used for either the large one or the small. First break up the ice in a thick bag with a hammer until the pieces are as large as eggs and all about the same size. Then put 2 big bowls or dippers of this into a tub or pail, and add 1 bowl or dipper of coarse salt, and so on till you have enough, mixing it well with a long-handled spoon. Put the freezer in its pail and put the cover on, then fill the space between with the ice and salt till it is full, pressing it down as you work. Let it stand now in a cool place till you know the inside is very cold, and then wipe off the top carefully and pour in the cream, which must be very cold too. Put on the top and turn smoothly and slowly till it is stiff, which should be 15 minutes. Then draw off the water from the pail, wipe the top of the cover again so no salt can get in, and take out the dasher, pushing the cream down with a spoon from the sides and packing it firmly. Put a cork in the hole in the cover and put it on tightly. Mix more ice with a little salt, only a cupful to 2 bowls this time, and pack the freezer again up to the top. Wring out a heavy cloth in the salty water you drew off the pail, and cover it over tightly with this, and then stand in a cool, dark place till you need it. All ice creams are better for standing 2 hours. Plain ice cream. 3 cups of cream, 1 cup of milk, 1 small cup of sugar, 2 teaspoonfuls vanilla. Put the cream, milk, and sugar on the fire, and stir till the sugar dissolves and cream just wrinkles on top. Do not let it boil. Take it off, beat it till it is cold, add the vanilla, and freeze. French ice cream. 1 pint of milk, 1 cup of cream, 1 cup of sugar, 4 eggs, 1 tablespoonful of vanilla, 1 saltspoonful of salt. Put the milk on the fire and let it just scald or wrinkle. Beat the yolks of the eggs, put in the sugar, and beat again. Then pour the hot milk into these slowly, and the salt, and put it on the fire in the double boiler and let it cook to a nice thick cream. This is a plain boiled custard, such as you made for Floating Island. Take it off and let it cool while you beat the whites of the eggs stiff, and then the cup of cream. Put the eggs in first lightly when the custard is entirely cold, and then the whipped cream last, and the vanilla, and freeze. Coffee ice cream. Make either of these creams and flavor with half a cup of strong coffee in place of vanilla. Chocolate ice cream. Make plain ice cream. Melt 2 squares of chocolate in a little saucer over the tea kettle. Mix a little of the milk or cream with this and stir it smooth, and then put it in with the rest. You will need to use a large cup of sugar instead of a small one in making this, as the chocolate is not sweetened. Peach ice cream. Peel, cut up, and mash a cup of peaches. Make plain ice cream with a large cup of sugar, and when it is cold stir in the peaches and freeze. Strawberry ice cream. Mix a large cup of berries, mashed and strained carefully so that there are no seeds, with the ice cream, and freeze. The easiest ice cream of all, vanilla parfait. 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, whites of 3 eggs, 1 pint of cream, 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Put the sugar and water in a nice enameled saucepan and cook it without stirring. You must shake the pan often to prevent its burning, but if you stir it, it will make it sugary. After about 5 minutes, hold your spoon up in the air and drop 1 drop back into the saucepan. If a little thread is made which blows off to one side, it is done, but if not, you must cook till it does. If your fire is very hot, it may make the thread in less time, so try it every few moments. Have the whites of your eggs beaten very stiff, and slowly pour the syrup into them, beating hard with a fork all the time. You must keep on beating till this is cold. Have ready a pint of thick cream whipped very stiff, either with a Dover egg beater or in a little tin cream churn, and when the egg is cold, mix the two lightly and put in the vanilla. If you have a mold with a tight cover, put it in this, but if not, take a lard pail, cover tightly, and stand in a pail on a layer of ice and salt, mixed just as for freezing ice cream, and pile more ice and salt all over it. The more the better. Let this stand 5 hours, or 4 will do, if necessary, and turn the cream on a pretty dish. After you have made this once, it will seem no trouble at all to make it. If your mother would like a change from this recipe sometimes, try putting in the yolks of the eggs, well beaten, with the cream, and use some other flavoring. Lemon ice. 1 quart of water, 4 lemons, 2½ cups sugar, 1 orange. Boil the sugar and water for 10 minutes, strain it and add the juice of the lemons and orange, cool and freeze. Orange ice. 1 quart of water, 6 oranges, 1 lemon, 2½ cups sugar. Prepare exactly as you did lemon ice. Strawberry ice. 1 quart of water, 2½ cups sugar, 1½ cups strawberry juice strained. Prepare like lemon ice. Raspberry ice. 1 quart of water, 2½ cups sugar, 1½ cups raspberry juice strained. Prepare like lemon ice. Peach surprise. 1 quart of peaches cut up in small bits, 2 cups of sugar, whites of 5 eggs. Do not beat the eggs at all, just mix everything together and put in the freezer and stir until stiff. This is very delicious, and the easiest thing to make there is. When Margaret wanted to make her own freezer full of ice cream, she just took a cup of cream and heated it with the sugar, and when it was cold put in 3 drops of vanilla and froze it. End of Part 3, Ice Creams and Ices. Recording by Sweet Pea.
Cakes and Fillings of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Cakes and Fillings. Next, after the ices in her book, Margaret found the cake to eat with them. And first of all there was a rule for some little cakes which the smallest girl in the neighborhood used to make all alone. Eleanor's Cakes. 1/4 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of milk, 1 egg, 1 cup flour, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, 1/2 teaspoonful of vanilla. Rub the butter and sugar to a cream, beat the egg light without separating, and put it in next. Then the milk a little at a time, mix the baking powder with the flour and stir in, and last the vanilla. Bake in small scallop tins, and fill each one only half full. Grandmother's Little Feather Cake. 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoonfuls soft butter, 1 egg, ½ cup milk and water mixed, 1 1/2 cups sifted flour, 1 teaspoonful baking powder. Rub the butter and sugar to a cream. Beat the yolk of the egg stiff and put that in. Then add part of the milk and water and part of the flour and baking powder which has been sifted together. Next the vanilla, and last the stiff whites of the eggs, not stirred in but just lightly folded in. If you put them in heavily and roughly, cake will always be heavy. Bake this in a buttered biscuit tin and cut in squares when cold. It is nice covered with caramel or chocolate frosting. Domino cake. Make this feather cake and pour it into 2 pans so that the bottom shall be just covered, and bake it quickly. When it is done, take it out of the pans and frost it, and while the frosting is still a little soft, mark it off into dominoes. When it is entirely cold, cut these out, and with a clean paintbrush paint little round spots on them with a little melted chocolate to exactly represent the real dominoes. It is fun to play a game with these at a tea party and eat them up afterwards. Margaret's Own Cake. Margaret's mother named this cake for her because she liked it so much to make it and to eat it. It is a very nice cake for little girls. 5 eggs, 1 cup granulated sugar, 1 cup of flour, 1 pinch of salt, ½ teaspoonful of lemon juice or vanilla. Separate the eggs and beat the yolks very light and foamy. Then put in the sugar, which you have sifted, a little at a time, and the flour in the same way, but put them in turn, first sugar, then flour, and so on. Then put in the flavoring, and last fold in the whites of the eggs beaten very stiff. Bake in a buttered pan. Sponge cake. 4 eggs, 1 cup powdered sugar, 1 cup sifted flour, 1 level teaspoonful baking powder, juice of ½ a lemon. Separate the yolks and whites of the eggs and beat them both very light. Mix the sugar in the yolks and beat again till they are very foamy. Then put in the stiff whites, and last the flour, sifted with baking powder, then the lemon juice. Bake in a buttered biscuit tin. You can frost and put walnut halves on top. Velvet cake. This is a large cake, baked in a roasting pan. It is very light and delicious, and none too large for 2 luncheons or for a picnic. 6 eggs, 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of boiling water, 2 1/2 cups of flour, 3 teaspoonfuls of baking powder. Put the yolks of the eggs in a deep bowl and beat 2 minutes. Then put in the sugar and beat 10 minutes or 15 if you want it perfect. Put in the water a little at a time, and next the stiffly beaten whites of the eggs. Mix the baking powder and flour. Put these in next and add the flavoring last. This is a queer way to mix the cake, but it is right. Easy fruit cake. Margaret's other aunt begged to have this in the book because she said it was so simple any little girl could make it, and all the family could help eat it, as they were especially fond of fruit cake. 1 cup butter, 1 cup sugar, 1 cup molasses, 1 cup milk, 1 cup currants, 1 cup raisins, 1 egg, 1 teaspoonful soda, 2 teaspoonfuls mixed spices, 3 cups flour. Wash and dry the currants. Buy the seeded raisins and wash these too, and then chop them. Cream the butter and sugar, add the egg beaten well without separating, then the molasses with the soda stirred in it, then the milk, then the cinnamon and cloves. Measure the flour and then take out a ½ cup of it and stir in the raisins and currants to keep them from going to the bottom of the cake when it is baked. Stir these in, add the rest of the flour and beat well. Bake in 2 buttered bread pans. Layer cake. 1 cup sugar, ½ cup water, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder, ½ cup butter, 2 1/2 cups flour, teaspoonful vanilla. Rub the butter to a cream in a deep bowl and put in the sugar a little at a time and rub this till it too creams. Then put in the beaten yolks of the eggs and then the water. Beat the egg whites well and fold in half, then add the flour, in which you have mixed and sifted the baking powder, and then put in the vanilla and the rest of the eggs. Divide in 2 layers or in 3 if the tins are small, and bake till a light brown. Filling for layer cakes. Nut and raisin filling. Make the rule for plain icing and add a 1/2 cup of chopped raisins mixed with a 1/2 cup of chopped almonds or English walnuts. Fig filling. Mix a cup of chopped figs with the same icing. Marshmallow filling. Chop 1/4 pound of marshmallows, put them over the tea kettle to get soft, make a plain icing, and beat them in. Maple filling. 2 cups maple syrup, whites of 2 eggs. Boil the syrup slowly till it makes a thread when you hold it up, then add it slowly to your beaten egg whites, beating till cold. Orange filling. 1 cup powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon boiling water, grated rind of 1 orange, 1 tablespoonful orange juice. Put the sugar in a bowl, add the rind, then the water and juice, and spread at once on the cake. This icing must be very thick when made, and if it seems thin, put in more sugar. Caramel filling. 2 cups brown sugar, 1/2 cup cream or milk, butter the size of an egg, 1/2 teaspoonful vanilla. Mix all together and cook till it is smooth and thick. Plain icing. Put the white of 1 egg into a bowl with a 1/2 teaspoonful of water and beat till light. Then stir in a cup of sifted powdered sugar and put on the cake while that is still warm, and smooth it over with a wet knife. Chocolate icing. Melt 1 square of baker's chocolate in a saucer over the tea kettle, and put in 2 tablespoonfuls of milk and stir till smooth. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar and a small 1/2 teaspoonful of butter, and stir again. Take it off the stove and put it on the cake while both are warm. Caramel icing. 1/2 cup of milk, 2 cups brown sugar, butter the size of an egg, 1 teaspoonful of vanilla. Mix the butter, sugar, and milk, and cook till it is smooth and thick, stirring all the time and watching it carefully to see that it does not burn. Take it off and put in the vanilla, and spread while warm on a warm cake. End of Part 3, Cakes and Fillings. Additional Desserts of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Additional Desserts. Donuts. Margaret's mother did not approve of putting this rule in her cookbook, because she did not want Margaret ever to eat rich things, but her grandmother said it really must go in, for once in a while very nice donuts would not hurt anybody. 1 1/2 cups of sugar, 1/2 cup of butter, 3 eggs, 1 1/2 cups of milk, 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder, pinch of salt. Put in flour enough to make a very soft dough, just as soft as you can handle it. Mix and put on a slightly floured board and make into round balls, or roll out and cut with a cookie cutter with a hole in the center. Heat 2 cups of lard with 1 cup of beef suet which you have melted and strained, and heat till it turns brown a bit of bread instantly. Then drop in 3 doughnuts, not more or you will chill the fat, and when you take them out, dry on brown paper. It is much better to use part suet than all lard, yet that will do if you have no suet in the house. Oatmeal macaroons. These little cakes are so like real macaroons that no one who had not seen the recipe would guess how they were made. 2 1/2 cups rolled oats, 2 1/2 teaspoonfuls baking powder, 1/2 teaspoonful salt, 3 even tablespoonfuls butter, 1 cup sugar, 3 eggs beaten separately, 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Cream the butter, add the sugar and well-beaten egg yolks, then the oatmeal, salt, and baking powder, then the vanilla, and last the whites of the eggs. Drop in small bits, no larger than the end of your finger, on a shallow pan, 3 inches apart. Bake in a very slow oven till brown, and take from the pan while hot. Peanut wafers. 1 cup of sugar, half cup of butter, half cup of milk, half teaspoonful soda, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup chopped peanuts. Cream the butter and sugar, put the soda in the milk and stir well, and put this in next. Add the flour and beat well. Butter a baking pan and spread this evenly over the bottom, and then spread the peanuts over all. Bake till a light brown. Tea party cakes. 2 squares of baker's chocolate, 1 teaspoonful of sugar, bit of butter the size of a pea. Melt the chocolate over the tea kettle and stir in the sugar and butter and a couple of drops of vanilla if you like. Take little round crackers and with a fork roll them quickly in this till they are covered. Dry on buttered paper. You can also take saltines or any long thin cracker and spread one side with the chocolate. Almond strips. White of 1 egg, 1 cup chopped almonds, 2 tablespoonfuls powdered sugar. Beat the egg just a little and put in the sugar and almonds, spread on thin crackers, and brown in the oven with the door open. End of Part 3, Additional Desserts. Pies of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Pies. General Rule. Margaret's mother did not like her to eat pie, but she let her learn how to make it, and once in a while she had a small piece. Here is her rule. 1 pint of flour, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/4 cup lard, 1 teaspoonful salt, 1/2 cup ice water. Put the flour, butter, lard, and salt in the chopping bowl, and chop till well mixed. Then add the water, a little at a time, turning the paste and chopping till smooth, but never touching with the hand. Put a very little flour on the pastry board and lift the crust on this, and with a floured rolling pin lightly roll it out once each way. Fold it over and roll again, and do this several times till the crust looks even, with no lumps of butter showing anywhere. Put it on a plate and lay it in the ice chest for at least an hour before you use it. Pie crust will never be light and nice if you handle it. Do not touch it with your fingers unless it is really necessary. When you use it, get everything ready for the pie first, and then bring out the crust, roll quickly, and spread over the pie. In putting the pie in the pan, cut the bottom piece a little larger than you want it, as it will shrink. Sprinkle the tin with flour, lay on the crust, and after it has been fitted evenly, and is not too tight, cut off the edge. Put a narrow strip of paste all around the edge, and press it together. If you wet it with a little water, it will stick. If you wish to be sure the filling of the pie will not soak into the undercrust, brush that over with beaten white of egg. After you put in the filling, fold your top crust together and cut some little shutters to let out the steam. Put on the cover, wet the edges so they will stick together, and pinch evenly. Deep apple pie, or apple tart. Fill a baking dish with apples, peeled and cut in slices. Sprinkle with flour, cinnamon, and plenty of sugar, about 1/2 cup. Put in the oven and bake till the apples are soft, and then cool, put on the crust, and bake till brown. Serve powdered sugar and rich cream with this. All pies cooked in a baking dish with no crust on the bottom or sides of the dish are called tarts by the English. They are the best kind of pie. Peach pie. Line a pie plate with crust, lay in the peaches, peeled and sliced, sprinkle with flour, and then cover with sugar. Put on a top crust, cut some little slits in it to let out the steam, and cook till brown, or make a deep peach tart. French peach pie. Put the crust in the pie pan as before, boil a cup of sugar with 2 tablespoonfuls of water till it threads. Lay quarters of peaches in the paste, around and around evenly, no one on top of the other. Break 10 peach stones and arrange evenly on top. Then pour the syrup over and put a few narrow strips of crust across the pie, 4 each way, and bake. Pumpkin pie. 1 small pumpkin, 2½ cups of pulp, 2 cups of milk, 1 tablespoonful molasses, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoonful each of salt, ginger, cinnamon, and butter, 2 heaping tablespoonfuls of sugar. Cut the pumpkin in small pieces and take out the seeds and remove the peel. Put the good part over the kettle and steam it till it is tender, keeping it covered. Then you take off the cover and stand the steamer you have cooked it in on the back of the stove, till the heat makes the pumpkin nice and dry. Then mash it and put it through the colander. While it is warm, mix in everything in the rule except the eggs. Let it cool and put these in last, beating them till light. Line the pie tin with crust and pour in the filling and bake. This rule is a very nice one. It makes 2 pies. Cranberry pie. Cook a quart of cranberries till tender, with a small cup of water. When they have simmered till rather thick, put in a heaping cup of sugar and cook 5 minutes more. When as thick as oatmeal mush, take them off the fire and put through the colander. Line a tin with crust, fill with berries, put strips of crust across, and bake. A nice plan is to take ½ a cup of raisins and a cup of cranberries for a pie, chopping together and cooking with water as before, adding a sprinkling of flour and a little vanilla when done. Orange pie. 1 orange, 1 cup of water, 1 small cup of sugar, 2 teaspoonfuls cornstarch, butter the size of a hickory nut, yolk of 1 egg. Grate the rind of the orange and then squeeze out the juice. Beat the yolk of the egg, add the water with the cornstarch stirred in, orange juice and rind and butter, and cook till it grows rather thick. Bake your crust first, then bake the orange filling in it. Then beat the white of your egg with a tablespoonful of granulated sugar and put over it and brown. This is an especially nice rule. Lemon pie. Make exactly as you did the orange pie, but put in a good-sized cup of sugar instead of a small one, with a lemon in place of the orange. Tarts. Whenever Margaret made pie, she always saved all the bits of the crust and rolled them out and lined patty pans with them and baked them. She often filled them with raw rice while they baked, to keep them in shape, saving the rice when they were done. She filled the shells with jelly and used the tarts for lunch. End of Part 3. Pies.
Part 3. Candy of a Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Brielle Hepburn. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3. Candy. Candy. Margaret did not wait till she reached the recipes for candy at the back of her book before she began to make it. She made it all the way along whenever another little girl came to spend the afternoon, or it was such a rainy day that she could not go out. Nearly always she made molasses candy, because it was such fun to pull it, and she used the same rule her mother used when she was a little girl. Molasses candy. 2 cups New Orleans molasses, 1 cup white sugar, 1 tablespoonful butter, 1 tablespoonful vinegar, 1 small teaspoonful soda. Boil hard 20 minutes, stirring all the time, and cool in shallow pans. If you double the rule, you must boil the candy 5 minutes longer. The best thing about this candy is that it does not stick to the fingers. If you let it get quite cool before touching it, and pull it in small quantities. Do not put any butter on your fingers, but work fast. Maple wax. Boil 2 cups of maple syrup till it hardens when dropped in cold water. Fill a large pan with fresh snow, pack well. Keep the kettle on the back of the stove where the syrup will be just warm, but will not cook, and fill a small pitcher with it, and pour on the snow a little at a time. Take it off in small pieces with a fork. If there is no snow, use a cake of ice. Peanut brittle. Make the molasses candy given above, and stir in a large cup of shelled peanuts just before taking it from the fire. Put in shallow, buttered pans. Peppermint drops. 1 cup sugar, 2 tablespoonsful of water, 3 teaspoonsful of peppermint essence. Boil the sugar and water till when you drop a little in water, it will make a firm ball in your fingers. Then take it off the fire and stir in the peppermint and carefully drop 4 drops, one exactly on top of another, on a buttered platter. Do not put these two near together. Popcorn balls. Make half the rule for molasses candy. Pop a milk can full of corn and pour in a little candy while it is hot. Take up all that sticks together and roll in a ball. Then pour in more, and so on. Maple fudge. 3 cups brown sugar, 2 cups maple syrup, 1 cup of milk, ½ cup of water, butter the size of an egg, 1 cup English wall meats or hickory nuts. Boil the sugar and maple syrup till you can make it into very soft ball when you drop in water. Only half as hard as you boil molasses candy. Then put in the milk, water, and butter and boil till when you try it in water, it makes quite a firm ball in your fingers. Put in the nuts and take it out of the fire at once, and stir till it begins to sugar. Spread it quickly on buttered pans, and when partially cool, mark in squares with a knife. Chocolate fudge. 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of sugar, 1 pinch of soda, 3 squares baker's chocolate. Butter the size of an egg. Put the soda in the milk and scrape the chocolate. Mix all together until when you drop a little in water, it will make a ball in your fingers. Take off the fire then and beat until it is as stiff as paste, and then spread on a buttered platter. Sometimes Margaret added a cup of chopped nuts to this rule, putting them in just before she took the fudge off the fire. Cream walnuts. 2 cups of light brown sugar, 2/3 cup of boiling water, 1 small saltspoonful of cream of tartar, 1 cup chopped walnuts. Boil till the syrup makes a thread, then cool till it begins to thicken, and stir in the walnuts and drop in buttered paper. Cream made from confectioner's sugars. Take the white of 1 egg and measure just as much cold water. Mix the two well and stir stiff with confectioner's sugar. Add a little flavor, vanilla or almond or pistache, and, for some candies, color with a tiny speck of fruit paste. This is the beginning of all sorts of cream candy. Candy potatoes. Make the plain white candy just given, and to it add a tablespoonful of coconut, and flavor with vanilla. Make into little balls rather long than round, and with a fork put eyes in them like potato eyes. Roll in cinnamon. These candies are very quickly made and are excellent for little girls' parties. Chocolate cream. Make the cream candy into balls. Melt 3 squares of baker's chocolate. Put a ball on a little skewer or a fork and dip into the chocolate and lay on buttered paper. Nut candy. Chop a cup of almonds and mix with the cream candy. Make into bars and when cold cut in slices. Walnut creams. Press 2 walnut halves in small balls of cream candy, 1 on either side. Cream dates. Wash, wipe, and open the dates. Remove the stones and put a small bowl of cream candy in each one. Butterscotch. 3 tablespoonfuls sugar. 3 tablespoonfuls of molasses. 2 tablespoonfuls of water. 1 tablespoonful of butter. 1 saltspoonful of soda. Boil all together without stirring till it hardens in water. Then put in a small teaspoonful of vanilla and pour at once on a buttered platter. When hard, break up into squares. Pinoche. 1 cup light brown sugar. 1 cup cream. 1 cup walnuts, chopped fine. Butter the size of a walnut. 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Cook the sugar and cream till it makes a ball in water. Then put in the butter, vanilla, and nuts and beat till creamy and spread on a platter. Betty's orange candy. Betty was Margaret's particular friend, so this was her favorite rule. 2 cups sugar. Juice of 1 orange. Boil till it hardens in water, and then pull it. Cream dates, figs, and cherries. Make the plain creamy candy as before. Wash the dates well. Open at one side and take out the stones and press it in a ball of candy. Leave the side open. You can sprinkle with granulated sugar if you choose. Cut the figs in small pieces and roll each piece in the cream candy till it is hidden. For the cherries, color the cream candy light pink and make into little balls. On top of each press a candied cherry. Dates with nuts. Wash and wipe the dates dry and take out the stones. Put half an English walnut in each and press the edges together. Roll in granulated sugar. Small figs may be prepared in the same way. End of Part 3, Candy. Recording by Brielle Hepburn.
Part 3, Margaret's School Luncheons, of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton. Part 3, Margaret's School Luncheons. As Margaret had to take her luncheon to school with her sometimes, she had to learn how to make a good many kinds of sandwiches, because she soon grew tired of 1 or 2 sorts. Cut the bread very thin and spread lightly with butter, and after they are done, trim off the crusts neatly, not taking off all the crust, but making the 2 pieces even. For plain meat sandwiches, chop the meat very fine, sprinkle with salt, and spread on the bread. If it is too dry, put in a very little cream as you chop the meat. Egg sandwiches. Make a very little French dressing. About a teaspoonful of oil, a sprinkling of salt, and 4 drops of lemon juice or vinegar. Chop a hard-boiled egg very fine, mix with the dressing, and spread. Lettuce sandwiches. Spread the bread, lay on a lettuce leaf, and cover with French dressing, or with mayonnaise. These sandwiches are about the best for school, as they do not get dry. Celery sandwiches. Chop the celery fine, mix with a French or mayonnaise dressing, and spread. Olive sandwiches. Chop 6 olives fine, mix with a tiny bit of mayonnaise, and spread. Chicken and celery sandwiches. Mix chopped celery and chopped chicken, as much of one as the other. Wet with French or mayonnaise dressing, and spread. Nut sandwiches. Chop the nuts fine and add just enough cream to moisten. Sprinkle with salt and spread. Sardine sandwiches. Scrape off all the skin from the sardines and take out the bones, and drain them by laying them on brown paper. Mash them with a fork and sprinkle with lemon juice and spread. Tomato and cheese sandwiches. Slice a small firm tomato very thin indeed, and take out all the seeds and soft pulp, leaving only the firm part. Put 1 slice on the bread and 1 thin shaving of cheese over it, and then put on bread. A slice of tomato with a spreading of mayonnaise makes a nice sandwich. Cream cheese and nut sandwiches. Spread thin Boston brown bread with just a scraping of butter, then spread with cream cheese and cover with nuts. This is a delicious sandwich. Sweet sandwiches. All jams and jellies make good sandwiches, and fresh dates, chopped figs, and preserved ginger are also nice. Some of Margaret's school luncheons. 1. 2 Boston brown bread, cream cheese and nut sandwiches, and 2 white bread and jam, a little round cake, a pear. 2. 2 chopped ham sandwiches, 2 with whole wheat bread and peanut butter, a piece of gingerbread, a peach. 3. 2 whole wheat bread and chopped egg sandwiches with French dressing, 2 crackers spread with jam, 3 thin slices of cold meat, salted, a cup custard, an apple. 4. 2 whole wheat sandwiches spread with chopped celery and French dressing, 2 of white bread and sardines, 3 ginger snaps, 3 figs. 5. 3 sandwiches of white bread filled with cooked oysters, chopped fine, 1 of whole wheat with orange marmalade, a few pieces of celery, salted, a spice cake, a handful of nuts. 6. 4 sandwiches, 2 of minced chicken moistened with cream, 2 of whole wheat and chopped olives, a little jar of applesauce, gingerbread. 7. 2 date sandwiches, 2 of chopped cold meat, sugar cookies, 3 olives, an orange. 8. 2 fig sandwiches, 2 whole wheat with chopped celery and French dressing, a deviled egg, a little scalloped cake, an apple. 9. 3 lettuce sandwiches, 1 with brown sugar and butter, 3 tiny sweet pickles, ginger cookies, fresh plums. The end. End of Part 3. Margaret's School Luncheons. Recording by J.P. for KJV. End of A Little Cookbook for a Little Girl by Caroline French Benton.